or some of the pit will be flooded, not even flooded as well, but underground water will come and you pour more water before it will delay you for mining. So that is what I mean by that. Limitation to production. The interference of traditional leaders and manpower equipment and hours of pumping out the waters from the pit. Because if rainy season time like this, what would delay production? If it rains much, because you have to use more hours for withdrawing the water out from the underground before you get down and do. These are some of the machines and the way we pump. We use some of these machines and generators. And this is the way you are pumping the water from the underground. You create a pond. And you pump the water there. Then you can fetch this same water. You use the same water for our processing. The solution, when you want to, after crushing, mailing your ore, and then you are now sending it to the solution area where you wash and take your concentrate. It's the same water that we use. It doesn't spoil water bodies. No. And looking at this, it's the same problem that we have the Upper West, the Wa East, and Nadole Kalio district are also doing the same thing. And there is no any block out land for the small scale mining in the area. But participants were all looking for sustainable mining. And we're all here to brainstorm, to find solutions to what we can do to solve this problem in this country. I'm particularly talking about the northern sector. And the northern sector is not mining alluvial mines like what our colleagues in the southern sector are doing in the river bodies. We are all doing hard rock mining, and which is underground mining. And it's safer, because if a land is gazetted for small-scale mining, and you are here, it remains like how the main mining companies are working. You don't jump to the other place to degrade land or spoil water bodies. But this is the question. I'm standing here as a leader. It will be a disgrace for me. I will be going around for this kind of dialogues, and at long last, you'll find people doing illegal mining. People will compare to do illegal mining in Upper East and Upper West. And simply because the land that was gazetted for small-scale mining, the government has taken away that land for the large-scale mining. And the people were working there, feeding their families. And if you look at the way they create employment for the youth and ladies as whole, and people who are not even working directly at the area, now they are all out of job. So how will they do illegal mining? And we are happy that after the dialogue, our honorable minister came round to the 3 Savannah regions, have a dialogue or had a conversation with the small-scale miners, and yeah, I beg you. We agreed and they were trying to look for an area for us. Up to now, there is no any block out area for the small-scale miners. We're hearing the government today, and if you listen to the speakers, the minister representative, and then the regional minister, the sector minister representative too. They all said the government is making plans to get an area that they can do the geological work and get a land for the small-scale miners. But for this period, the large-scale companies has taken off, started doing their work. Where will the small-scale miners go to do their job? So I plead with all of you, the illegal mining will continue this area because of there is no availability of land. And my plea to the government and the sector minister and the rep from the vice president of the country, that they speed up with the large-scale concession that who have taken the land. For a number of years, they are not there doing prospecting. And it's also difficult for the commission to also release the land for the small-scale miners. And they are always in talks with them. Things are not going on. And we are pleading, Nanamo and my fellow participants, this is a serious tax for we, the small-scale miners in the industry who are not happy about the activities going on. But people compelled to do illegal mining, and we're looking up to them. You can't say anything. Well, man must live. And the people are ready to cooperate with the government. But if there is no any availability of land for them to do mining, what can they do? Thank you very much for your day.
Thank you very much. Let's show appreciation to Mr. Robert Tampware from the Upper East Zone. In fact, participants, we will have a session for panel discussion. So that is why we are giving them 7 minutes and just some 3 minutes for 1 or 2 questions that quickly we may want to. And because we exceeded far into the time, maybe we'll allow for just 1 question, then we'll go to the next presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. My name is Seydou Alidou from Ghana Geological Survey Authority. Mr. Presenter, thank you very much for your presentation. And I would like to assure you that from what my bosses said this morning, under the Ghana Land Restoration Project, there are 3 blocked out areas that Minerals Commission has released to Geological Survey Authority. Just last 2 weeks, some of our colleagues from Geological Survey and Minerals Commission went to Datoko, Talensi, and Kusanaba, all in the Upper East region, to do deck study. They've done the deck study, but they went on a verification to see what is happening. And I'm very sure if you ask some of your colleagues on site, they will tell you that officials from Minerals Commission and Ghana Geological Survey were there. This project is going to be done in partnership with Geological Survey and a consultant. Geological Survey is going to supervise. It is as a result of a loan that we got from World Bank. It is a component of Ghana Land Restoration and Small-Scale Mining Project. So I want to assure you that Datoko, Tongo area, Yamarega, and Kusanaba, not all those areas have been given to the large-scale people. There are some areas which have been blocked out and has been released to Geological Survey to undertake geological investigation. Once we are able to get mineralized areas, of course, in terms of regional geology and all those, we know it is part of the Bole-Navrongo belt, which is a gold belt. So there's no doubt that there's gold there, even your grade is showing. So once it's done, we'll give the document back to Minerals Commission after we have done the investigation. Then they will parcel out all those areas and give it to you on a, what do you call it, either community mining or on a, what do you call it, whatever method. So don't be, I want you to be rest assured that that area, apart from the area that have been given to some of the large companies, there are areas that have been given to Geological Survey as I speak to you now, and we are on the ground. Thank you very much.
This work, we are doing it collectively. I beg with the Geological Survey Department and the Minerals Commission. If you have done this good job and you have left me out with my people, if you were to inform me or to inform me at the time you are visiting the area, I wouldn't have been here to say what I'm saying. So we are working together to devolve Mother Ghana. And several platforms were being always with you people. So if you have taken the initiative, why do you let us out? Next time, inform us and we'll work together. Thank you. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you very much. So next time they would inform you before they do other. Please, your name and then where you're.
My name is Seydou Alidou. I'm representing my Director General who unfortunately was not able to come. I'm a principal geologist from Ghana Geological Survey Authority. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Seydu. The rapporteurs are taking notes. That's why we want you to mention your name wherever you are coming from so that they take all of those notes. Thank you very much. So we will go straight up to our second presenter, and that will be the Upper West Zone, the small-scale miners. So this is my own brother, my own friend, and then it dates back. We're both at Scale University, and we're doing a lot of good things over there. And it's good that he's here, and he's going to tell us the things that he also, has. It pains me that I did not wear this my outfit. People know that I always almost wear this. Would have been the same. Thank you very much, Mills.
Congratulations. You saw me walking majestically to you with a smile. And that was a smile of joy. When I took your line, after 20 years, we haven't met again. And I wanted to pick your name. You were that in the name I was looking for. Least did I know you have scaled onto the prophetic ladder. Congratulations. Congratulations. I'm highly impressed. All protocol observed. Nananum. The Northerners will say Namine. Ladies and gentlemen, I am here this afternoon to do my presentation talking about Upper West Region. My name is E.M. Banonle, Regional Coordinator, Upper West Region, and also the consultant on the association. Exactly what my brother said. For us, as a region, as a people, we are totally denied. There is no blockout area in the region for us. We don't have any operational point after the ban of illegal mining in the region. Last year, when the sectorial minister, Lands and Natural Resource Minister, Honorable Samuel Ajubu Jinapo, visited the region, after his meeting with the chiefs and all stakeholders in the region, the Small Scale Miners Association was the next team he did meet. And we presented our problems and challenges to him. He promised us he will do something. For that reason, for that matter, we should do our best and look for viable areas, pick the coordinates, do the presentation at the ministry. Exactly that we have done. I did presented these coordinated area maps with my regional chairman to His Honorable Mreku Duka, the Deputy Minister in Accra. In front of us, he did not let us leave the office. He invited the CEO, Mineral Commission, and presented them to him for us to see and ask him to act. So hopefully, we're expecting that by this time, we should have at least gotten 1 or 2 points. We did presented 4 maps to start our operations. Unfortunately, to our surprise, our meeting with the Azuma Resources, they are the only concessionaires in the region. The country director, Mr. Paul Amakwata, he picked the photocopiers from us, took it to their office at Kansera, plotted them. The 3rd day, he gave me a call. I invited the regional chairman. We met him and his environmental officer. Unfortunately, we're being told that all the areas we've taken the coordinates is unfortunate. We can't get any of them. It was indeed a sad event as a region, as a people. Meanwhile, he has promised us last year that from the beginning of January 2021, effective and efficient large-scale mining will start in the region. Up till now, at our last meeting, to our hearing, again, as I'm speaking, we are experiencing the breeze of mid-2022. It is talking about another 20 months, large-scale mining will start effectively and efficiently in the region. For us, we think he's walking over our minds. It's a deceit. Now, let me say this. Our chiefs, the rank and files, the youth in the region are peeved. We aren't happy at all about what the concessionaires are doing to us as a region, as a people. After having told us that out of the 3,000 kilometer square mile area acquired as your concession, you have relinquished 13,000 kilometer square mile to be blocked out for us to start our group community mining. Then I asked, so where can we get the boundary lines? Up till now, upon his promise, we are not hearing anything. I call him, he doesn't pick. Severally, he doesn't pick my calls, frankly speaking, and we aren't happy. We are here to put before our leaders here this afternoon our heart crier, our plea. At least listen to our crier this afternoon as a region. Gone are the days, like my brother exactly said, when the Nadoli Kaleo district and then the Wa East 2 points were in operational. Per our statistics, we could count more than 25,000 workforce plus at each of the points. And it opened a lot of branches economically in terms of business in the region. And the region was very busy. We are indeed not happy as a region. Our chiefs, our elders, our stakeholders has asked us to put this plea before our leaders so far as small-scale group community mining are concerned. Simply because our chief has sat and watched most areas, debates, being organized for the release of lands in the regions for group community mining. Irrespective of the fact that all these areas, there are small, large-scale mining activities taking place and have employed a lot of workers. So we are praying and pleading. Irrespective of this, the regional chairman, including my good person and all the executives, we haven't given up because of our committal promise we gave to the secretarial minister when he visited us. One of our chiefs porously uttered some words, and he cautioned us that people were dying at the Nadoli Kaleo district. And I said, no, Honorable, it might not be true, and it is not true. There were about 100 plus participants from that district. I asked them in front of you. They said nothing like that has happened. Because I took the pain, including the regional chairman, going around doing the reclamation, spending a lot of monies, because we don't want to hear any bad news in terms of any casualty and death. Upper West region has a lot of resources. We are praying that you will listen to us. We have still continued to do reclamation. We've gone around all the areas, especially around the Black Volta banks. If you will bear with me, the only two rivers in this country now that carries very good clean water is talking about the Black and White Volta. And these are the two major rivers that flows into our major hydroelectric project points. Akosombo Dam, Bui Power Authority. We are saying that, help us. We are continuing to do the reclamation. We are embarking on tree planting. We are greening the land. Time will not allow me express much in favor about the good things we are doing in terms of fixing back the green pastures in the land. We are doing a lot to green the land. So far, we can talk about spending more than 50,000 plus Ghana cedis. We have to organize funds by ourselves, selling animals from our stock to raise funds to do this because of our committal promise to the minister. Once again, let me plead. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, my brother. Yeah, let's show appreciation for our brother from Upper West region, and he has enumerated some challenges that they are having, and yet they are putting a lot. They are putting all the effort to green the land. So at this point in time, maybe one or two questions. Yeah, thank you very much, our own council chairman.
Thank you. I have a problem with the Ghanaian mentality when it comes to exploitation of our resources. Looking at the corrupt nature of the Ghanaian, and for that matter, the African. Looking at the low technological know-how. Why are we always talking about exploitation when we have inefficient techniques in doing that? America has a lot of oil, billions of tons of oil. It is conserving it for future generation. It's not exploiting, rather not buying from other African countries. The idea is that the future price will be higher, and they are conserving it for the future generation. Looking at the inefficiencies that exist, the illegalities, the way we are doing these things, why are we not talking about protection and conservation for future generation and find other means of getting employment for the people, but rather thinking of just exploitation? What, when it gets finished, what will the future generation do? How will they also be able to benefit from the resources that nature has given us? I'm sure by the time we end here, nobody will talk about protection and conservation for general use. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Council Chairman. And this is a very, very important issue, sustainability. I mean, you don't have to use all of the things, forgetting about the future generations. Yeah, okay, so our second question.
Yeah, thank you very much. This is not a question. If there is any geologist in Ghana who has worked in Upper West, then that is me. The landscape of Upper West is oversubscribed when it comes to allocating it for mining activities. All the areas are being occupied by the large-scale companies. He made a statement that Azuma is occupying about 300 square kilometers. Fortunately, Mr. Aye is here. The chairman, the board chairman of Minerals Commission is here. I don't think they will allow one company to hold on to such a scale. The principle is you have 2 years of prospecting licenses, after which you shed off. Azuma, I don't want to go back into history, how that deposit was found. It was one chief at Triponi when we were working there in the 90s who sent us to the German trenches that they have over there. And it was through that we discovered that particular deposit that Azuma is going to work on now. But the point I want to make is there are other areas that will not fall within the prospective areas of Azuma resources. Why can't Minerals Commission and Geological Survey look at the shared-off areas that they have there and then block an area for them? I can give them a free consultation. I will not charge them for money. I can provide coordinates as to where you can give to the small scales if you are interested.
Thank you very much, sir. So we have free consultation, and I'm sure we are going to take advantage of that. So at this point, I don't think we have any. Oh, yeah, sorry for that. Please, as I said, you mentioned your name, where you are coming from. So the one who spoke, okay, you finish. Your name and where you are coming from.
Yeah, Professor Emmanuel Ahin, Geographic Science, Doma, University of Energy and Natural Resources.
So he is also at UNE. And then our council chair, I think they want to hear from you.
Oh, questions, Japan, Council Chair, UNE.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so please, as we keep asking questions and give contributions, we mention our names and where we are coming from. So Prof, we thank you. We know that they will come for free consultation, especially where you were the pioneers that you discovered, that belt and all that. So our next presenter is a representation, a rep from Bole Tinga Zone, the Bole Tinga Zone. So let's welcome our rep from the Bole Tinga Zone of the small-scale miners. So we are hearing from the practitioners, the small-scale miners. Thank you very much. So please, you have 7 minutes exactly, and then we end.
Good afternoon to all of us. All protocol observed. My name is Muhammad Tahiru, Bole Tinga Zone, Savannah region. We are on the grounds doing the work as far as small-scale mining is concerned, and then small-scale activities are concerned. I'm also the secretary of Small-Scale Miners Association within that zone, and then also a secretary to Dollar Power Community Mining Community, Dollar Power Mining Community. The challenges we face at our area are enormous. One of them is how to get the appropriate landscape or the actual ore for the mining, because we don't have geologists who come to assist us. We do it locally. The individuals go into the bushes to discover a trench and then assume that there are gold deposits within that area. And then after we go to those places, each one goes to mark what we call his own ghetto. That is what we call them, the trenches. We call them ghettos. After marking them, start digging. Try and error. So whether you're going to get the gold or not. And then at the end, if you get, fine. If you don't get to, your resources has gone down. And within that Bole zone, we have about several mining communities, over 10 mining communities within Bole zone. And then the Gonja land is fortunate. We call it land of gold. Almost every community has gold deposit. And now what we need is the lances and then the expertise to come to our aid to exploit the gold for the benefit of the communities. Now how we operate there is that every chief in any of the communities has his own setup. I'm the chief. I appoint my chairman and the secretary to take charge of the gold or the mining activities. Now, when there is a new trench or a new line, the committee goes in there to control the area, make sure that the right thing is being done. And they are not also expertise of the business. So last year, we met with the sector minister, Honorable Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Abla Abujinapo, and he assured us that they are going to get us licenses within those communities, the community mining scheme. And then we actually urge them, and we apply, we send our coordinates to them to enroll us into the community mining scheme so that our activities will be regularized. And then some of our members too has gone under training the Takwa University of Mines and Technologies. And then some of us actually help them to do the work how it's supposed to be done. And then we are also fortunate in those our area that we had two block out areas, namely Tinga and then Dakurpe, and which both are all operational. Now, the challenge we have at the Tinga zone is that we have the land, but we don't have the geology or the expertise to show us the gold ores. So traditionally, we still go in there to just dig and do the try and error method. So we'll need expertise or geologists to come to Tinga to help us discover the gold lines. And also, we're also fortunate to receive a crusher machine from the Minerals Commission. And that one too is not helping. That one is only one, and there will need more of them in order to cover the whole area, because one is very slow. One person can come, can bring his ores and then take about 5 to 6 hours to finish a single work. And then those, and there are still several people lined up. So one is not helping us. And in the Kurupe too, we don't have any. So we need more crushers at our area. And then one of our challenges are also finance. Finance is another challenge that we are facing over there. Those foreigners has come, or foreigners have engulfed our area. They are using their own resources to do the mining, and after that, they take the gold to their own country, that is Burkina Faso. And then these people don't know where they get their powers from. They have offices in Bole and its environs that they buy gold. And there are authorities within that area. No one talks. We are also urging the government that it should also bring finance, or so we also want to seek finance from the government so the individuals or the citizens can also have finances and open the source, or the government can also come and open a refining base for us. So that will pass through that office, and also government will also gain a revenue for the development of the country. I personally write proposals, and then I apply loans so that I can also get some of these funds to also buy gold, because it pains me a lot when I see foreigners taking my gold to their own country and to increase their own GDP to their advantage. And then the gold or the contribution, the mining sector to GDP cannot be overemphasized. As Chairman for Mineral Commissions earlier said, gold, small-scale mining activities contributed about 38% of the total gold export in the country. And then you can't imagine the impact it has in Ghana. And then in my own community, when it comes to Bole area, Bole people can say we are rich because of the mining activities within that area. You see houses springing up. And I encourage that, or I urge government that we need licenses in order to continue the activities. And then with that, we'll also be organized, or can even send us more expertise to guide us in the right way to mine the ores. Because Small-Scale Mining Association is committed to every government policy. Yes, so we are never into illegalities. Now, some people tell us that we are all illegal miners or galamseyers. No. There is a distinction between small-scale miner and then a galamseyer. So we are more organized, and we operate within the license environment. And whatever, we are asking on the government, and then we are pleading on the government to also help us secure the licenses for all the communities within Bole Tinga zone. So that is what we are pleading from the government. Thank you very much.
Yeah, let's show appreciation to our brother. That's very good presentation. Thank you very much. So we allow 2 or 3 questions. Right.
Thank you, my brother, for the presentation. You said you are not illegal, you are legal. So how do you acquire the licenses? On what basis did you get the licenses? Because I'm asking this question because you said you don't even know where the oil is. And then you just go and then you just mine anyhow. So how do you, and I know before you get license, you're supposed to get the oil deposit before the license is given to you. Is that the Mineral Commission? Is that what they are doing, that anybody can just go for come for the license first and then you go and then just prospect to get where you find the mineral? Because I have a challenge.
Thank you very much. Before you acquire a license, you have to send coordinates of that particular land to the Minerals Commission. So they will then determine that that particular place is, has a rich or has minerals in that land. So the Mineral Commission will not issue any license to anybody without ensuring or without knowing that there are mineral deposits within that land. And then, as I said, our zone, we have 2 block out areas. We have community mining at Tinga, and then we have a concession at Dabkrupe. So they are all lances. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm Dr. Paul Keynes here from UNE. Maybe I'll come and present.
Yeah, thank you very much. Any other question? Add to it.
Yeah, I'm trying to answer the question that you gave to him. Tinga area originally was for Ashanti exploration, which I was part of the team. So when we were doing the exploration there, we used the community people to follow us. So when Ashanti left and gave the area to Semaphore, that was when I was doing my MPhil. So there was a boy called Soja, if he's still there. He was the one carrying my bag. And we were marking out areas of what? Of mineralization. So when we left and we were not going back, he was the one who started the first Tinga workings and was marking out the oil zones at Tinga for them. So that is how they got to know that there was gold there, and then there was the rushing for that. That area was, we were sharing boundary with Brim Goldfields. I don't know whether Brim Goldfields still holds that concession. So all those areas were for Ashanti, it changed to Semaphore, and then Brim Goldfields was there. But as he's saying that the area had been given to them, they have brought out an area. I'm assuming that Ashanti or Brim Goldfields no longer are in charge of that. So that is how they get in. Based on information on the ground, they move in. If you don't sack them, it becomes their area. That is how they acquire their license.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, okay.
Okay. My name is Robert Ali Tanti, Executive Director, Center for Social Impact Studies, Obuasi. Did I hear you say there are 2 blocks, one for small scale and one for community? If so, I would like to ask, do we have different licenses for mining as a community, mining in the community block, and another license for doing the small scale mining? And a follow-up question, maybe to Minerals Commission, how do I acquire licenses to do community mining? Do I need small-scale mining, or which licenses do I need before I can engage in community mining? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Community mining, that one is a group of people, up to 10. Sorry, that's the concession. The mining concession, a group of 10 will go in for their concession, and the community mining is cooperative. Community mining is cooperative. A whole community has to come together, form a cooperative, go in for the licenses, and then they operate as a community, not as individuals. But the other one is for only some particular individuals. But then the community mining is for the whole community that is entitled to that place. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Mineral Commission, would somebody want to Or otherwise, during the panel discussion. It's the same. So it says the same license.
Thank you. My name is Benjamin Ayi, and I work with the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources as advisor on mining to the minister. I think two things need clarification. The first is the question of community mining versus small-scale mining. Let me underscore that community mining is nothing different from small-scale mining. But as he tried to explain, an individual, an entrepreneur could go apply for a small-scale mining license. It's about just doing business, he wanting to do the business of mining. And he could apply for an area suitable for small-scale mining, and they will be granted to him, and he will have to comply with the requirements of operating a small-scale mining license. The difference between that and community mining is that, as the name connotes, we want to emphasize community benefiting from the mining activities of an area. So typically you'd see that the license is granted to the community working through the assembly to ensure that the whole community comes together to benefit as much as possible from it. There is a slight difference though, let me just go ahead and explain when you come to the legalities of it. So a community mining scheme can be under the small scale mining license provisions as provided in Act 703. On the other hand, it could also come under the regulations of what we call the tributor mining scheme. That is to say, I have a license for mining, large scale. If I find areas which will be suitable for small scale mining, working with the Minerals Commission, I can give that area back to government. And then they would see to it that that area is licensed for a community to operate on that, to be able to mine on it. So within the community mining scheme framework, it could be under Act 703 or the health and safety and technical regulations of the laws. So there are two possible legal frameworks for doing community mining. Then let me quickly comment on the matter of mining on possibly on lands which may not completely be viable. I think we've said that several times this morning, that there are areas which were demarcated for small-scale mining, as my brother has said, based on work done by exploration companies. They come up with anomalies. Possibly they've not really got to a point where they have defined a resource, but having found anomalies, they think it will be suitable for mining. So they suggest that, and it is blocked off, and may be licensed to people interested in mining. Or small-scale miners may come forward and say, we believe that this ground contains minerals, and therefore coming forward with the coordinates, they could apply to be licensed to do that. In the past, unfortunately, quite a lot of these areas were not that viable. So that led to the hit and run type of operation. They try to dig around. If it's not viable, they move on. So that's why Minerals Commission and Geological Survey are doing a lot more work on these, ground-proofing truthing the ground, to make sure that truly what areas are given for small-scale mining are suitable. Then they will stay on it because it's viable, it's likely to be done responsibly, and therefore sustainably. So that's one of the initiatives the Minerals Commission is pursuing. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the clarification. And so please let's show appreciation. Oh, yeah. In fact, we are now chasing gold all of the time. Gold is something that is precious to us, even to the extent that petroleum, which we have, oil, it is termed black gold. Instead of its own name, petroleum, we call it black gold, meaning that gold is so essential. And interestingly, so many years back, in South Africa, they were using the gold in catapults to hit birds and then collect them, just like we use stone. Okay, because they didn't know the value of gold. But So that is why, and this was a very popular question at KNUST African Studies examination. Resources are not, they become. Zimmerman, discuss. This question every year it comes. And it was because the South Africans were using the gold to hit birds. They didn't know the value, right? And one interesting thing also about the gold is that, now, if you remember a little bit of our chemistry, all of these elements, I have arranged them in a table. And you have some specific names for some groups. You have those that we call the noble metals. Gold is a noble metal. And I strongly believe that because gold is noble, and then we are just trying to discover it anyhow, that is why we are destroying our rivers. Because it's noble, it doesn't want any problems. And then you want to always, come and harass it. Okay. So probably that's why we are having problems. A noble metal. So we have listened to our practitioners on the ground there, and we will now, the next 4 presenters are people from research and what they have seen, what they have also deduced from going to the ground. And the first to give the presentation is Dr. Lily Lisa. So Dr. Lily Lisa, is she around? Yeah, so let's show appreciation as she comes. So she's coming to talk to us about what she has found in terms of research. And Dr. Lily Lisa is from the School of Geosciences at University of Energy and Natural Resources. You are most welcome. Thank you.
Good afternoon. All protocols observed. Yeah. Yes. So I will be presenting on mercury, the use of mercury for mining. So most of the mining activities that are carried out, we know that we use mercury in getting out our gold. Yeah, okay. Yes, so my topic is mercury emission from small-scale gold mining. And the question is, does it cause widespread soil pollution in Ghana? This is the outline I'll be using. I'll give a small introduction and talk about the problem, why this study, the results, and then the conclusion. And then I have a question for all of us. So, as I said, we use mercury in small-scale gold mining, actually for extracting of the gold. And in countries like Ghana, it is ASM, or ASGM, has become a very high important economic sector for us. So, when we talk about sources of mercury, we have so many sources of mercury. But in Ghana, we don't have volcanic eruption to give us mercury. The main source of mercury is the artisanal small-scale gold mining. Globally, we have about 37% of mercury being emitted from this source. In Ghana, the global emission assessment, based on the global mercury emission assessment, we have about 57,488 kilograms, of which 91.3% is coming from the artisanal small-scale gold mining. We all know of the environmental impact of our mining activities. We are very much aware of the land degradation. We are very much aware of the destruction of the ecosystem. I need not talk about this. However, the use of mercury is very toxic for us. The effect on us is diverse, from the neurological effect to the liver, to the kidney, and also to the fetus. We don't eat it. However, in our process of using it, we end up inhaling it. We end up washing it in the water bodies. It goes on, there is bioaccumulation. We take it, the fishes take it in, we take in the fish and then we end up with mercury within our system. There are many channels to which mercury ends up in our bodies. So the study which was carried out was to know, based on the various environmental media, the soil was taken. So I wanted to know what is the effect of mercury on the soil, not where the mining is happening actually, but the entire country. So in order to do this study, the country was graded 25 by 25 kilometers, and then each sample was, these points were tracked and sampled. So using a GPS, the points were sampled, soil was collected from these sections, and then based on the collection, the various land use that was happening there was also documented. As I said, this is not pertaining to exactly where the mining activity is happening, but then the whole country. So it was random, but then systematic. And then the samples that were taken were analyzed based on the mercury content and also the land use that was there. So this is just a mass balance to show the way the mercury interacts within the system, the deposition and the emission, and the amount of mercury that is found in the soil. So this is the result. Now from the general assessment, we realize that there is high concentration of mercury found within the southwestern part of the country. That is looking at regions such as Ashanti, a section of the Bono region, Ahafo region, the western, central, eastern, and the western north regions. The concentrations are listed here with the active mining that was active mining sectors. So some few samples fell there, sample points fell within mining sectors. We had areas from farmlands, and these are the concentrations that were observed. Now, based on the concentrations observed and also the various other parameters based on, such as the land uses, the soil organic carbon, and other factors that were used in assessment, I would move on to this. Yes. So, based on this, the first one shows the mercury concentration within the region. As indicated, the southwestern part from the central right up towards Bono has high concentration of mercury, but then mercury is volatile. So if it's in the soil, it evaporates. So how much of it was evaporated? We can see that from the evaporation, we have mercury emission being the second part, which is the B, showing that it didn't stay just within the various regions where we had high concentration, but then it also moved upwards towards, going towards the middle part of the country. Now, when we talk about the total deposition, we are looking at how much of the emitted falls back into the soil. We have quite a lot of dispersal of the emitted emissions, mercury that were emitted, falling back onto the soil, and it goes way beyond the sector of the emission. So, in conclusion, we realize that the mercury concentration found averagely was lower than the world's average of mercury concentration. That's around 6.6 milligrams per kilograms. So the concentrations were low, and it was lower than or below the soil quality criteria for human health. However, because the study was not based on the local pollution, but then there were high pollutions or high concentrations of mercury within the local sectors. So this means that the buildup of soil concentration in the mining area is still problematic. And because mercury is hazardous, it's still something to look at and to also find a way to streamline the usage of mercury. So what is the way forward? From the talks that we've had so far, so many discussions, so many dialogues, Mr. Aye mentioned that the ministry was looking at bringing in mercury-free processing equipment, gold processing equipment to handle it. How far is this going? How much can we engage miners in the use of this mercury-free equipment, gold processing equipment? And this is a question I cannot answer, especially when the sector is not streamlined. So I leave the question to us because that is why we are here. And I hope you can all help me answer this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lily Lisa. So please take your seat. Let's show appreciation to her. She's done very well within time. And so mercury, something that is very dangerous to us. That is what she looked at. So we'll go, please, 2-3 questions. And then if you are not able to ask a question, please just put it down because we'll have a session for discussion and then you can ask your question. Thank you very much. So that's a chemist going to ask a chemist question.
Yeah, thank you, Prof. I'm Benjamin Dalkwan Samwa, lecturer in the Department of Chemical Sciences, an environmental chemist. So, I'll take it from the way forward perspective and quoting Mr. Benjamin Ayi. Well, if only the alternative will help in getting more of the gold, I think it wouldn't cause a problem. Because it has been proven that the amalgamation process is able to help these miners get more of the gold. And the amalgamation process, which is not just an alloying process, but a deep sorption, specifically chemisorption, which at the end of the day have to be heated and get rid of the mercury, which Dr. Lily spoke about, it being very volatile. My major concern is not the water bodies that most of us have been talking about, but the bioaccessibility of the mercury. Because research has also proven that though it is found in minute concentration environments, its bioaccessibility is very, very high. It means that it gets accumulated into the human and causes a lot of detrimental effects. So for me, if only the option is going to help the miners get more of these gold concentrates, that wouldn't cause a problem. But if not, then they will still go for the amalgamation process. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the chemist. Any other question? In front, right.
My question goes to what's her name? Yeah, okay, Dr. Lily. Yes, you said you did your mercury determination in the whole country, and then you made a grade of 25 kilometers square. Did your work take you to artisanal mining sites? And if it took you there, how were the mercury levels there? Would like you to share this with us, because I did some work back in the year 2006 when Newmont was trying to go to the Achim area, Achim districts. And then we went to 10 communities to do heavy metals, that is namely mercury, cadmium, arsenic, and then lead. When we got to artisanal mining sites, you would be surprised the mercury levels that we found in the population. So how did you find areas which actually came under artisanal mining?
Thank you very much. So Lily, so you tell us the levels at Zan.
So with the, thank you for the question. So with the mining areas, about 5 active mining areas were sampled from the grading. And these the concentrations that were observed there were within the range of 0.68 milligrams per kilograms to 1.3 milligrams per kilograms. Now, these were not exactly at the location of the amalgamation and all that, but then within the area of mining. However, one interesting place I took a sample from, that was in Upper East. That is not an active mining area, but that was Nangode, around in the Upper East region. I was told mining there had ceased for the past over 10 years. So I decided to take the sample there and examine the mercury content in that soil. And then I realized that that sample alone, that soil that had been lying there for a long period of time, I was able to measure about 1.86 milligram per kilogram of mercury concentration. That is really high. I don't know why, but then it means that even the residue for that long, it still was in the soil. Yes, so it was higher within the active mining sectors, but of course not as high as the world's average concentration of 6.6 milligrams per kilogram. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Lily.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I think that we are sitting on a time bomb, and I grieve that we seem to have given it all up. I listened to the Minerals Commission talking about regularizing the mining, and I don't know how much we can, as a country, properly regulate mining to the extent that this danger does not occur. What do you call that? Mercury can stay in the land for a very long time. We have no way of stopping the existence of it once we dispose of it in a very illegal and very irresponsible manner. And it's happening everywhere, whether it is legal, whether you have permitted the people to go and mine or you don't permit them to mine, you call them galamsey, illegal or legal. We have not got the right instrument to mine. We don't have the right technology to mine. We don't have the right people to mine so that we can be responsible. And we were all worried that mining is taking everything away. The land is going, everything is going, and now we are tired. We say, okay, go and mine. And then you are mining, the land is getting destroyed, people are, and we are saying we are regularizing it. How? What, I mean, I just cannot understand. So if you look at, I've been to several countries to see what is happening. Go to other countries. Look, in China, you can't dig up. We like bush meat, and you like meat when it runs into a hole and you dig and take it out. You get there, try to even dig out an ant. They will arrest you. They will come here, go and take a whole area and do whatever they want to do, destroy the land, and then that's fine for us. So I think that we need to reassess how much we are regularizing this, how much we are allowing it to go on. I'm sure the operators listening to me will not be happy, but it is true that we need to save our country. We need to save this. Look, you are competing with countries which are taking care of their lands. You can't go to the US and mine the way you want to do. You wear shorts and pull it down and say you are imitating them, but you cannot imitate how they are regularizing their environment. Everything that you see happening good there, we can't imitate. Everything we see happening bad there, we want to imitate. Somebody is riding a Benz car. He's running a good business and doing it. You too, you want to run it. You've gone to take money illegally, and then you buy a Benz car and think you are like a US person. No. Please, I think this dialogue should help us reassess ourselves, reassess the ownership of land, reassess how much we can invest in the land, see what kind of permission we can give to a mining industry, what kind of equipment they can have, what kind of training they have, and then so we can allow them with a lot of strict adherences to regulations we would have put in place. Or else you forgive them, you allow the operations, and then a generation coming who we are keeping this land for will curse us, I'm telling you. Because we are not holding this land because we have inherited it. We are holding it because we owe it to our generation that is coming. We are borrowing it from them, and they will get up and use it. So I have a feeling that we need to do much more than just the reports we are getting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable. And
my name is Rashid Pelpo, MP, Wa Central, but I'm the ranking member for Lands and Energy. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Honorable. And incidentally, I use Benz, but it is an old Benz. Yeah.
Thank you very much. My name is Daniel Adusu. I'm in the Department of Environmental Management, UNEP. My question is that I know Ghana is a signatory to a convention that is supposed to stop the use of mercury. You mentioned in your presentation that the small-scale miners are using it. I want to know if they are legally allowed to use it. If they are not, where do they get it to use it in the mining process? Because we are supposed to have checks and balances to ensure that these chemicals do not end up in our environment. So that is my question.
Now, please, we'll have a discussion. So if you have a direct question for Lily, you have a question.
Okay, thank you. A few comments. I think following up on what Honorable said, and I think he was very much spot on. We as a people need to decide that there are things which are not good for us. We should stop them. That's simply it. But we are people who either condone the wrongdoing. Even when we are suffering, we don't say anything about it. We just sit back and allow it to go on. And we need to get to a point where we all got to say, sorry, we shouldn't allow it. But having said that, let me say that it is very important. Maybe let me address your question first. Currently, as we speak, we have signatories to the Minamata Convention, which requires not complete cessation, but minimization until, if it's possible, stop it. And that's where government wants to get to a point where we stop it completely. Like it or not, globally, mercury is the easiest way of winning gold by artisanal, cheapest way of winning gold. So it happens. Like it or not, again, Ghana is not the West. If you go to what do you call it, South America, they do bulk amalgamation. What that means is they mine and they add the mercury to the ore, even as they process it. We will at least process and get to a concentrate and then apply it. That is not to say it's good enough. It is not. We should stop it. And so maybe let me add a bit more to that. Having said that, there was also the question of whether it will help to migrate to the other technologies. The reality is that currently our small-scale miners, most of them, are recovering somewhere between 45 to 50% of the gold they mine. So they are losing the rest, not for themselves alone, but for all of us. Not good enough. The new technologies that are being introduced have been said to recover up to 90%. Certainly an attractive venture to get into. And again, the part I want to add very quickly is that a few years ago, actually more than 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, UNIDO together with Ghana did undertake a study of mercury and tried to sensitize small-scale miners to move away from mercury. I can't remember the other location, but Dumasi was one of them. And Japa, the other two, one alluvial, one hard rock place. So, yeah, I'll finish shortly. So having done that study, it became apparent that there were big users of mercury. And indeed, human samples, hair, fingernails, etc., taken showed they contained mercury. But then, having sensitized them, I think about 5 years after, the study was done again. Interestingly, they went to Dumasi and found people virtually having stopped using mercury. So we believe that if people are sensitized to the effects, they're likely to stop, reduce, if not stop it. So I guess we shouldn't just do the study of where it's found, but we should hype a lot more the impacts. and let people see what mercury can do to you. It's a slow poison. It won't kill you immediately like cyanide, but sure will destroy you. So we need to probably hype that a bit more. Thank you.
Thank you very much. In fact, we are hard pressed for time, and then some of our presenters would have to, leave almost immediately. So we want to be as quick as possible so that we can have the panel discussion, and then they can take their leave. So the next presenter is somebody who has done a lot of work on mining, and he's an expert in this area, and he is from the School of Natural Resources, University of Energy and Natural Resources. Please let's welcome Dr. Nsia for him to give us his presentation. So please, 7 minutes.
Are you sure? We will see. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Oh, this is the first one. All protocol observed. And I hope the council chairman is here, because there's something that I'll explain. He asked something that my presentation. Let you show what is happening. I'm presenting on the topic, the role of mine land reclamation in combating environmental impact of small-scale mining. Yeah. Mining, as we are all aware, mining contributes so much to the economies of mineral resource-rich countries. And mining serves as foundation for development. That's why I wanted the council chair to be here. Mining serves as foundation for development. And without mining, take my word, life does not only become uncomfortable, but also impossible. So we need to mine. Without mining, life does not only become uncomfortable, but also impossible. So the council chair, we need to mine. But as we go through the presentation, how do we mine and make sure it must be done? But if it must be done, then then it must be done what? Well, that is what we need to focus on. So there's nothing here that we can get without mining. And this room, you cannot pinpoint one thing that you can get without mining. Everything, even green energy. Without green mining, you cannot even talk about green energy or whatever energy, sustainable development. Without mining, you cannot get it. All this, you can get them as a result of mining. So we need mining. Mining should be part of it. And remember, gold that we are talking about, even in heaven, we are going to work on gold. We are not going to work on this carpet. That's why thieves cannot go there, because they will steal it. That's why thieves cannot go there, they will steal it. And if you want to go and read Job chapter 28, you see that method of mining is clearly stated there. So we need mining to be part of it. That's why God placed the mineral there. But how do you go about it? So yeah, you've seen the benefits, but these are the impacts. The negative that we've watched the documentary, I don't need to talk about this. So now we know the benefit. We know that without mining, we cannot live. And then we look at the impact. So what do we do? If the council chair was here, I would have wished he answered that question, because he asked that you have to stop mining. So that is his view. But yeah, so what do we do? So how do we balance it? The council chair is there. Okay, he's there. Prof, would you want to come in? Okay, thank you, Prof. Okay, Prof, they say I should finish so that you come and stop. And also the question that the Deputy Minister asked, I'll answer that for the VC. Because he asked the VC. The answer, how do we balance the equation of the benefits and the impacts? And I have in my presentation, balancing the equation of benefits and impacts of mining. So the big question, how do we operationalize mining, especially small-scale mining, based on sustainable development framework? That is achieving the full economic and social benefits, and also making sure the environmental benefits are not relegated. And the answer, which is quite silent in most of our regulations, and even we don't even have, is what we call what? Mine reclamation. You said the mine proponent or the person doing mining must have what? Workable plans for reclamation before the beginning of the mine. So reclamation, all we know is we have to finish mining before we do reclamation. Is that not what we know? So that is the general thing. But when they finish mining, we look at the major challenge when it comes to mining. One of them is what? Finance or fund. And when do they stop mining? At the end of the mine, why do they stop? Because they don't have funds. So if you want them to finish mining before they reclaim, where are they going to find the money to reclaim? And that is the challenge. And who should bear that cost? So we need to look at that. So he said what? Mine reclamation is an integral part. I've defined. He said, I want us to take note of the last point. He said, the general principle for best international practice is that mining project, whether small or large scale, and we explain, should not be approved unless the mining company has put forward a detailed, workable, and adequately funded reclamation plan to prevent environmental impact after mining ceases and restore the ecology of the mine site to a specified end land use. And we come to the details of it. So all these areas have in mind. And I did my PhD in Germany. We went to mine site where they've mined and reclaimed. They do it so well. Other countries, they do it so well. All these areas have in mind and reclaim. And we can mine to improve the land if we have the will to do that. If you are willing, only as we say, if you are willing and obedient, we can do that. But on the other hand, so what are the challenges? We know reclamation has the potential of solving these problems. But when it comes to reclamation, what are the challenges? What do we need to look at to be able to make sure we have effective reclamation? Number one is called funding liabilities. If I should ask the question, who is supposed to bear the cost of reclamation? Who can answer? Who? The mine proponent. Okay, the mine proponent. But why is it that now we are taking money from the World Bank, 5 million or so, to do reclamation? Where are the mine proponent? So that's why we need to. So you see the right thing that we need to do. We see the right thing that we need to do because the regulators, if you are willing and obedient, the right thing to do to be able to make sure the have funds is here, and then we know it. What is happening to the slides? Okay, once I get close, okay. So then the next one is clearly defined reclamation policy guidelines. We are talking about reclamation, but as a nation, the regulators are here. Do we have any reclamation policy guideline as a nation? We don't. Do we have? Large scale, I'll come to the question again. We are like ostrich, so I'll come to it again. Why should the large scale have it, but the small scale, even the large scale, is just stated in Environmental Assessment Regulation 1999. It's just silent. They should put the reclamation point, and that is all. Nothing again. So why should the large scale, the question is, why should the large scale mining company post reclamation bond by the small scale? It means we are saying that poison, when we measure poison, about the volume or the concentration of poison that is more important. I'm asking the question, so that if I have a poison that is 500 mil, it's not dangerous, but if I have poison that is 50 mil, it's dangerous. Is that what we mean? But that is what our regulators are telling us. So I'll come to the next one, if we have the security bond, reclamation security bond. Okay, the next one is the stabilization of slope and erosion. We go to that, yeah, and then determination. We go through this in details. So the first is provision, the reclamation security bond that I talk. So all of you, this is what our regulators are telling us. That for the large-scale mining companies, before you mine, for instance, you are given a concession of this room to mine, and before you are given a permit to mine, you have to cost how much it will cost you. You determine how much it will cost you to be able to reclaim the site. If it's $5 million, then they expect you to post that money. And even I know some companies don't even put it in Ghanaian bank; they put it in foreign bank, so that when you finish mining and you don't reclaim, then the government will take it and give it to the third party to be able to what? To reclaim the land, which is excellent. And they are doing it. But why is it at the small scale? And the small scale, you need to define, the regulators to go and define, differentiate between small scale industrial mining and small scale artisanal mining. Because artisanal mining is using low quality implement like shovel and cutlass and other things. That is artisanal mining. But you look at what the documentary that we watch, you call this small scale mining, so ignore all the rules that you apply to large scale. What's the difference between this mining and then the large scale? They are the same. And we are talking about community mining now. 10 people coming together, there might be more than what? The large scale company. But we are like the ostrich, we bury ourselves, we allow these people to come and mine. They don't post any bond like the large scale mining companies. And at the end of the day, they mine and then what? Both away. And the government will have to get money to be able to reclaim the lands. And one thing is, once you post this bond, that's why we don't have problem with the large-scale mining companies. For instance, Nemo, they post, if I should bet, I don't think this is it's a public document. Nemo has put over $60 million in the bank, in the UK bank. And because they have posted that money, they are conscious of whatever they are doing. And they even try to do what we call concurrent reclamation. So that even as they mine and reclaim, they finish mining and reclaim, they take part of the money. The more you disturb, the more you post that money. So if you are able to reclaim, then you take part of that money. So why are you not applying the same principle to the small-scale mining? And our brother was here telling, mining is not something that any poor person can do because it's capital intensive. So we have to do all the feasibility studies and make sure we cost reclamation, everything. If it's feasible to mine, post your bond and then do your mining. So if you are going to or cut your coat according to your size, those who don't understand tree. So if you are going to maybe disturb 1.5 hectare, pay according to 1 hectare. If it's 10 hectare, pay according to hectare. That money, the government is not taking it. Once you finish mining and you do everything, the money will be given back to you. And it's perfect, excellent. It will answer all. And so that is one thing that we need. My time is up. Are you sure I should end my presentation? Are you sure I should end the presentation? Because we want to have solutions. That's what I'm telling you. If you are willing and obedient, if you want to get the solutions, we can get them. But if I should end, I don't know. If you are willing to, so should I end?
No. You are not ending. Come. No, please come. Come and stand here. No, you are standing here. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said, we are hard pressed with time, and we need to even, sorry for that. Our last two presenters, we want you to do that tomorrow. But we want our speakers to come here, and then we have our discussions. So all the things that you are not able to say it, you cannot say it. So please go and sit down. And then the first four presenters, please come and have your seat. So please, Dr. JB, and then Janet, please, tomorrow you are going to do your presentation. Okay, right. So please, we can still be here, but we are doing the panel discussion. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, so please. Yes. And then we are going to, but Council Chair wants to briefly, say one thing.
I quickly want to react to his concerns because I realize he has hit me with a wrong boot. All I'm saying is that I am talking about postponing current consumption for the future generation. If I talk of the future generation, it doesn't mean they are not going to exploit. They will by all means exploit their resources. I'm saying current technological advancement in our section of the world is slow, inefficient, and therefore we must develop the technology that will be able to adequately and succinctly help us exploit our resources and get maximum benefit from it. That's why I'm saying UNEL has a responsibility in terms of research and development so that the technologies that we develop will be efficient. So if I say that we should postpone it, conserve and protect, it doesn't mean that it's going to be lost forever. We are thinking of the future generation and not now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Council Chair. And please, we've ended it, but then during the panel discussion, whatever you have, you can bring it. They have to take a flight in Kumasi, and then they are. So maybe
just a quick one, Dr. Nsia. We now know that there are some people who are even digging their houses. We have ancient buildings that earn some countries millions of dollars. Will you recommend that because mining is important and we cannot do away with it, people should destroy the ancient buildings which they mine to put up? Will you?
Thank you very much. So please, let's show appreciation to our presenters, Dr. Insia, Dr. Lily Lisa, and then our miners from Upper East, Upper West, and then the Tinga zone. Thank you very much. We are most grateful. So we've come to an end with this session, and then we'll go to the panel discussion. So I will hand over to the MC, the registrar.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for all of them. Before the panel discussion, there's a gentleman here who has crafted a poem to present to us. Very brief, The panelists, please take your seats. We'll use the poem as an interlude whilst the panelists assume their seats, and then we move on. The Executive Secretary, Lands Commission, DK Datsun, please proceed upstage. Immediately after this one, you take over.
Good afternoon. All protocols observed. I am Opokwe Japon Jeron, a final student of the University of Energy and Natural Resources. We have a small poetry presentation. I am nature's first green. I am bold, and I am shining. Taking a mind from the very crust of Mother Nature and the beauty of all creations I adorn. Value I hold, prices I decide. Call me gold, Fremisika.
Creations, whose heads are filled with wild innovations.
Creations. Well,
whose heads are filled with wild innovations.
Minds filled with wild innovations. See, and many a mouth to feed, and the beauty of a wife to please. In the night of day, I sneak to steal the heart of Mother Earth. Sorry, I take for my family's sake.
Define in the beauty of man, I am golden.
Into the sty of pigs, I take a pleasant shower. And for money's sake, today we feast. Dreams. In many dreams I believe, but in the streams I dwell. And at night, in the dreams of many great men, I live. Many men take sleep just to take a peek of me. But for my sake, should the seas boil? Or should they uproot the very root on which they live to feed? Red scarlet rivers shows the pride of these great men, but also it shows the tears of Mother Nature.
Mother Nature's tears. Mother Nature's tears.
Mother Nature's tears, yes. Call me man. I am man. Tremble before me with fear. For into the very crust of Mother Nature have I conquered, and its joys I hold as crown.
With my golden goblet, I fill my bellies with wine.
I know today this town you paint red, but I have a question for you.
Yes, I'm listening.
Red. So, on what would you drink when you test, oh great man? Do you drink the great Ancobra that you've left muddy in your wake? On what would you feast? Great one, tell me, oh wise one, when all your greens are gone, do you resort to the dead stump of trees or the farmlands you've turned into muddy lakes in your wake? I plead to your humble ears this thought I plead to you to take.
What have I done? What have I become? I've never been this torn apart ever since I was born of a woman. Echoes of greed is now the seed of sorrow I've planted over the years of tears. I before the man in me, because I limited my eyes to what I wanted to see. Nature's first green is all the prize I wanted for. But now, what a beast I unleashed. But to Mother Nature, I beseech.
So
my arm down, I can't retreat.
So to you I plead. I plead your actions you should regulate. Take an eye and look at the harm done to nature and rethink of how better life can be. We need our lands to eat. We need our rivers to drink. And we need our lands now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll straight away call the panelists or their representatives. Mr. Martin Kweku AEC, CEO Minerals Commission, or if his representative is here. Mr. Suleiman Koni, CEO Ghana Chamber of Mines. Honorable Dr. Henry Kokofu, CEO EPA, or his representative. The representative of the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners. Professor Richard Amankwa, Vice Chancellor, George Grant University of Mines and Technology. Professor George Amankwa, please. Then the representative, Parliamentary Committee on Mines and Energy. Honorable, if you are. And we have the Water Resources Commission. If the representative of the Parliamentary Committee on Mines and Energy is here.
Hello.
I believe we'll proceed. Thank you very much. Panelists, you're all welcome. You have the opportunity to introduce yourselves, but we'll go straight away. We're talking about institutional experiences and challenges of the artisanal and small-scale mining subsector. I would want you to introduce your institution, and as a regulatory body or as an academic institution, we want to know your mandate and what you do as far as this sector is concerned. We want you to share your experiences and the challenges that you have faced. Let me say that I am the only outsider coming from the Lands Commission. Everything has been minerals, gold, etc. But let me say that I'm not a complete outsider, because everything, if you look at the definition of land, the minerals are part of the land. So we are all in it together. Thank you very much. So you introduce yourself and your role in this sector. Thank you.
My name is Tampuar B. Robert. I'm a small-scale miner representing the National Small-Scale Miners Association. We're here to dialogue and find solutions to the small-scale mining and the illegal activity, small-scale mining in the country. We have dialogue since last year, and this time we are looking forward to the authorities make sure that all what that we're looking for, we get a solution, and we are trying to plead with all of you to brainstorm and help us, because we as a small-scale miners, the industry, people are continuing spoiling our name. Meanwhile, the people who are doing the illegal activities are there.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, so, and what we are looking for, we need help from all the participants. We are ready to do sustainable mining, and we think that if land is available for small-scale miners, they can do sustainable mining. And we are ready to cooperate with the government to do what is good for Mother Ghana. I'm happy people are talking about the mercury problems in this country. I haven't been part of it in 5-6 years ago when Minamata, some company came from UK in the Upper East. We did a lot of research on mercury, and like my boss was saying, even your hair, they took their hair to the laboratory and test that those areas that they were working, people are working with mercury, had been affected with mercury. Some percentage of mercury that, and I think that we will all come together and help to make sure that we get solution to these problems, and our river bodies that are getting bad, and sooner or later, we may not, if care is not taken, we may not have any good or potable for rest to take. I plead that let's all come together, the chiefs, the authorities, the politicians, the chiefs, the institutions. Let's work together and get solution to this problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that sets the tone for our colleague from the Ghana, the Water Resources Commission. You saw even from the documentary this morning, the color of our water. Everybody is talking about it, how the water has been polluted. There's even some news going around that very soon, if you don't take care, we'll have to import water. That places a lot of responsibility on your institution. Can you share with us what your experiences and what your challenges are as a result of mining activities in Ghana?
Thank you very much. Ben Ampoma is my name, and I'm the Executive Secretary of the Water Resources Commission. The Commission is charged with the regulation and management of the country's water resources, and also to coordinate related policies. And in terms of the regulation and management, it has to do with all purposes respect to the use of water, which includes, obviously, mining. And for that matter, we have regulations in place to address the issues of mining in terms of specifically water use. And with respect to the water use permitting, apart from the use, the permits cover the diversion of streams and water bodies, and also the prospect of dredging or desilting, water bodies that have been silted through activities such as artisanal and small-scale mining. And that actually brings up the issues and the challenges that face the Commission. And the first of all has to do with the issue of compliance. Of course, we are talking about two things here, the illegal mining and then also the licensed small-scale miners. I wouldn't really dwell on the illegal because it's quite obvious that they don't have permits, and that has to do with security in terms of enforcement. But with the licensed one, the issue or the challenge has to do with compliance in terms of the permits that have been given to them, and especially so when it comes to the issue of diversion. Even if some take permits for diversion, there are conditions that go with them. And most instances, they are not supervised, or they dodge supervision and divert, as it were, based on their own whims and caprices, which is quite a challenge. The other issue has to do with dredging. Dredging is permitted in the country, and for that matter, we normally give permits. But that is where the catch or the problem is, because dredging in gold-endowed water bodies, we need to be careful with respect to how we give the permits. most times they come with applications that they want to dredge. If you are not careful and you are not able to define whether the area that they are going to dredge contains minerals, for instance, by the time you are aware, they have the permit, supposedly for dredging, but actually doing mining, which is illegal. So that is the issue. So most of the time, we do not give permits for dredging within gold endowed water bodies. We would normally encourage dredging within areas that do not contain minerals. But of course, like I said, it is one key challenge that we have. The other issue has to do with the protection of our water bodies or rivers. We have the policy, we have the guidelines respect to how to generate or establish buffers for the purposes of protecting our water bodies. And these are being followed. But of course, they are only policies and guidelines. We now need to, as it were, move a step further to develop legislative instruments to enforce certain specific provisions of the buffer zone policy that I'm talking about. That's specifically what I'm talking about. And I would say that we are actually in the process of finalizing the airline. And we do hope that it will actually guide us with respect to how to protect, or in terms of establishing buffers to protect our water bodies. But let me talk about the last one before I give up the mic. And it's something that has been escaping most of us, or escaping us as a country. And it has to do with our international relations, our transboundary relations with our neighbors. You see, the Bia River and Tunnel we share with Côte d'Ivoire, and we are the upstream country. Madam Chair for the Minerals Commission would agree with me. In 2017, before the ban on small-scale mining actually came into place, our counterparts in Côte d'Ivoire came complaining bitterly that our activities have polluted the Bia, which is a source of drinking water for most of their communities. And for that matter, they had shut down most of their treatment facilities. And it became an international, relations issue. Fortunately, we were able to address that. But unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, it is coming up again based on the level of pollution that we are experiencing. And the data that they are giving to us and what we have clearly shows that there's little significance in terms of the differences, which goes to show that our activities are greatly impacting on their water source, and for which, if we are not careful, the issue of conflict at the international level will come up again. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. So obviously, there's a challenge with enforcement as far as your office is concerned, and I believe that runs through as we move on to the EPA to listen to EPA. This morning, the Vice Chancellor said something. He said the dialogue between government and the ASM, at the center of it, we have the people and the environment. Obviously, that places a lot of responsibility on your institution. Environment is like the air that we breathe. It affects everybody. Do you tell us what you've been doing and what the challenges are? We don't just want to hear the challenges, what you are doing to help resolve it, so that next year when we meet again like this, we'll be hearing the positives that we've done this and these are the successes we have chalked. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. My name is Jonas Peroko. I'm representing my executive director. And as we all know, when it comes to environment, it's not the sole mandate of EPA. From scripture and even from the good books, we're all being commanded to take care of the environment. But the philosophy is that what is meant for everybody belongs to nobody. They say all of us should take care of it, nobody takes care of it. I will assume that Mr. A will take care of it, Mr. A will not, B will say C will do, and not. So, as an agency, by our acts, we are being mandated to safeguard the environment which is embedded in our mission, as well as to protect, co-manage, and enhance the environment. By so we do not do all this solely. That is why we have other stakeholders, other collaborators. Before we issue a permit, all these collaborators are being consulted based on the issues on the ground. And without going deeply, we also realize that certain times we have challenges when it comes to networking. Networking is one of the issues within all the setups. Probably you need a clarification or you need a notification from one sector to give you some insight, because you do not have all the expertise. You have to consult others to give you a green light either to proceed on whatever document that is in front of you or to put in checks and balances. And one of our challenges here in terms of the small-scale mining is their operations. We were just trying to see, when they do the washing, their wastewater, the effluents, how do they manage it? Because we do not manage it well, we end it in the environment that goes back into our streams and pollutes our waters. We're talking of mercury. We have signatory to it, but still people take it from other borders, from Côte d'Ivoire, from other places, into the country. Do we have other institutions who are supposed to do what? Enforce that such chemicals do not come into the country. And if they come, there should be licenses to use it, and use it as it stood, but not for other purposes. The other challenges, as we were all discussing, is the education. Do we all understand some of these issues or the laws that govern these things? And if we understand why, I know it's difficult to change our attitude. It's an attitudinal problem. We don't want to change our attitude. We want to be rich overnight. Nobody wants to labor to do the right thing and suffer before you gain. So we want to do what? Shortcuts. And certain times, when they want that, then they use other influential people to bridge or to overcome or to infiltrate when it comes to some of this in terms of permitting. You may want to do the right thing, but you have other interference from other superiors who will come in, either chief, politicians, government rules, and what have you. Certain times you find yourself now, what should I do? Should I go ahead and lose my job, or I give it out and suffer it? Because your conscience will tell you that what you have done is not right. When it comes down to the communities, as regulators, the community also sees that we are losing that respect, as if we are now conniving with the miners or the illegal miners to do what? To destroy their environment. So they no more have trust. Just recently we have a case with Nimon, when they are trying to open the Nimon North South. We're doing to see that what they have put in the impact assessment was really true. As they were doing the checks and balances, the community attacked them, and they were beaten. Next time, if you call me to go into such a community, will I want to go in there? No. Because I'll have the fear that if I go there, I can be late. And if I die, the country is still there, the person still operates and still makes his money, and I'm gone. And those who depend on me for breadwinning, what happens? The third challenge we have is the technologies they use. My brother was doing a good presentation. He has gone to learn how other countries, they are reclaiming their place, making it beautiful. We want to see him trying to implement those reclamations or what he has learned into the mining sector, that we all do what? do a good reclamation bond. Fine. It may be a lapse. The small scale, we were not putting the reclamation bond, but for now, probably we have to sit and discuss with other stakeholders to bring in the reclamation bond for the small stakeholders, so that they can also be held accountable for whatever distraction they do. As partners, one man cannot do all, so I will also ask them that the small scale mining should do the right thing, follow the real procedures to get the permit. Like the parliament was saying, you will just be digging anywhere thinking that when they dig, I'm going to get gold. Please, let's get people. I know certain times the consultancy is very expensive, but if you get a consultancy and you pay for it, you do a good job for you, you get your money, and you'll be okay. So on that note, I just want to pause here. As question comes, we unveil the others, but we all need to collaborate as a nation, as a one people, to make Ghana a better place, and also to leave something behind for prosperity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, but I believe that you must begin to be setting examples. If your laws permit you to even extent of closing some mines or prosecuting people, it must be seen to be working. And so the issue of enforcement still comes back. But because we are recording, we want to know, you did introduce yourself, so if we can, you can introduce yourself, and then the rep from Water Resources as well. He also will oh, you did. You also introduced. Oh, okay. All right. Thank you very much. Then that escaped me. But we'll move on to the Chamber of Mines. Mr. Suleiman Akoni, you have been doing a lot of work at the Chamber. You've been doing a lot of coordination. But obviously, you cannot escape the blame when it comes to the issues, the challenges that we are facing today. We faced those challenges in the past. I remember I was present at the roundtable discussion or the conference on small-scale mining in Accra. Even though I'm not directly in the sector, I was working at the ministry, so I was present. And some of the things that we've talked about today were mentioned there. If we should play back, we may even say that let's close because we are repeating the same thing. We want to know from you, what are the experiences? Why do we still, in spite of institutions such as yours, why do we find ourselves where we are today? Thank you. You may still introduce yourself. Yes.
My name is Suleiman Kone, CEO of the Ghana Chamber of Mines.
Okay.
I've been on this circuit for a number of years now. And for us, things got to a head. And we said enough. Let's get to the details of this matter. Because one of the objectives of the chamber, and I think I should introduce the chamber, collection of mining companies, mine support service companies, essentially in the formal large-scale mining sector, established way back 1928. We are funded by our member companies. We collaborate with various stakeholders, Minerals Commission, and to some extent, Geological Survey Authority. So I was talking about the challenges we had even before things really got so bad. The thing of illegal mining started with encroachment on the concept of companies. We tried various means of resolving this, dialogue, engaging, getting security. We realized that probably we needed to have some deep understanding. Deep understanding of what the issues were, what needed to be done. Because one of the objectives of the chamber is to provide thought leadership for the solution of problems related to mining. And anything to do with mining, we should be able to bring our expertise to the fore to help resolve, even though it may not be directly within the ambit of the chamber and its member companies. So we decided to conduct a study. This study was done about 12 years ago. And as I sat here and I listened to all the conversations, I said to myself, we should just go back to this research. And in fact, Mr. Chairman, at the end of the research, we didn't sit on it. We went round, engaged with various policymakers. But one of the key findings, the topmost, had to do with exploration. Because as far as we are concerned, the difference between large-scale mining and small-scale mining is the scale. That's about it. So what you would find large-scale mining companies doing, you would expect small-scale mining companies to do the same. So you would not expect a large-scale mining company to just get a concession and then immediately start digging. No. You need to know where the ore body is. So the topmost recommendation of that study, and it still holds valid as we speak, based upon all the conversations we've had, is that let's make sure that we delineate the ore bodies before we give to our brothers and sisters to work. Our vision at the chamber is to have, alongside large-scale mining, thriving small-scale mining, such that small-scale miners will grow, they will develop, they become medium-scale, they become, large-scale mining companies as well. So we were keen. We said, look, what can we do? Unfortunately, we have not been able to break that code. But thankfully, we have seen that in the last few years, Minerals Commission has been working with the Geological Survey Authority, providing funding for some geological investigation to be done before they are parceled out for small-scale miners. But the reality is that we have so much out there in the small-scale mining space with no geological information. And therefore, what would you find? You dig here, you don't find. We've heard it here several times today. You don't find, you move elsewhere. And because he didn't find, where is he going to collect the money to reclaim? Of course, he would just leave it. So that is a major issue. But my challenge with it, the acquired approach as we speak now, yes, probably in the interim, it helps solve a problem of trying to get some appropriate ore bodies for small-scale miners. But I don't think it's a sustainable solution. It's not. So how do we harness indigenous resources ourselves as a people to devote into exploration? That is one of the few things I believe we need to do. How do we get, for example, entrepreneurs, doing the right works, listing companies, even at the exploration stage on our Ghana Stock Exchange, so that young people can actually buy into these companies? The upside is always better than to have large-scale mining companies listing on the Ghana Stock Exchange. I'm a living example. I bought AngloGold Ashanti. Nothing. In fact, the dividends come, and it costs me more to go to the bank and deposit the dividend. So I just give it in my drawer. So I think as a sustainable solution for our country, we need to start thinking how to harness indigenous capital to support mining, because that is for us. We can't continue to have FDI solely as a formal means of mining. We need to have small-scale mining as well. In addition, one of the findings of that research was that because, again, small-scale mining, large-scale mining, it is just the scale. You can be a professor of mining. You can be a professor of environmental studies and so on and so forth. But if you are not accredited by the regulators, you cannot work on a mine. You can't. You need certification by the Chief Inspector of Mines. That is the rule. You need to have your certificate. And here we are. We just parcel these things out to our brothers and sisters. And the expertise is not there. And therefore, you heard the complaints. They need expertise. I know recently Minerals Commission has been employing a number of officers, which is a good thing. But I wonder whether it will be adequate. My good professor is here. They churn out that many professionals every year. Can we have a program where we would say small-scale mining as a prerequisite to get your license extended? Can you show to us that you have contracted, even if not on a permanent basis, probably on an ad hoc basis, someone who is a mining engineer, someone who is a geologist, who would come and support your work? I think this is so critical. It's so important for us that let's make sure, because we are churning them out. I know UMAT, they even have a certificate for small-scale mining. Let's try and mirror what we do for the large-scale mining companies. It is not rocket science. One other passion I have before I rest my case has to do with our own self. Sometimes we say small-scale mining accounts for 33%, 40% of gold production in this country. And I ask the question, how do we arrive at that? I don't know the basis for that. How do we arrive at that, Mr. Chairman? Essentially, what we do is to add the production figures of large-scale mining companies. And then the purchases, the cumulative purchases from small-scale miners. We put them together and they say that is national production. But who does that? Effectively, what I'm saying is that we don't have a handle on production by small-scale miners. We don't. So if we say we are registering and licensing small-scale miners, my understanding is that they are on our radar. If I'm a regulator and I license you, I give you paper to go and do your work, either I come and see or you give me reports, or a combination of both. A means of getting to know what you are doing. Not just production, but HSE standards and so on and so forth. So that is a missing link for us. We need to understand and appreciate how each small-scale mining company is producing. We cannot continue to add production to sales. Nobody does that. X plus Y. And then you say both, you get what? What do you get? X plus Y? XY. Or S divided by... So it is a fallacy. And we are deceiving ourselves. So I think we should just step back and say, what can we do? And we have the resources. Human professor is here. Churning out professionals every year. It is not rocket science. If we mean to do it, we can do it. And our brothers and sisters are crying. They need expertise. They need expertise to come and help them. So, Mr. Chairman, I want to rest my case here. And then I'm sure we can continue. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. So, Connie, I believe that what I picked from what you're saying, that sometimes we have the regulations, we have the bodies, we have the expertise. You talked about a lot of professionals coming out. But I'll tell you something, resources. I work in an area where in granting building permits, somebody was building in the wrong way, in a wrong, I think it was building in a road. So we asked the assembly, the inspectorate team, go and stop that work. We went there 1 week later, the work was still ongoing. What happened? They said, we didn't have money to buy paint to go and write stop work on the building. You see, this is the reality. So maybe we need to be looking at the resources, the fuel to move, to take action. It is also one of the things that's very, very critical. But Prof, there has been a lot of research. This university is here. Your university in Takwa, you've been doing a lot. And I am sure that you will be wondering, so all the research that we've carried out, how come we are still where we are? Can we look at the current situation, what we have done in the past, what we are doing today, so that we can turn things around in the future? I want to come to you as a professor and one engaged in this research into this area. Unfortunately, your university is sitting right in Takwa, where there's a lot of action as far as gold mining is concerned. So we want to hear from you. You share with us what your experiences are, what the challenges are. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. As a university, our mandate is to train world-class professionals in the fields of mining, petroleum, technology, and related disciplines, and also to do research to extend the frontiers of knowledge and extension services to solve the problems of society. At UMAT, we believe that small-scale mining is good. It is good because the first mine was a small-scale mine, and the last mine will be a small-scale mine. In between, you can have large and medium. Unfortunately, it is the practitioners who make the activity very bad. I'm talking about practitioners because, look, even if there is no enforcer, A human being should know that what I'm doing is right and what I'm doing is wrong. If a chief gives you a land by the river, your conscience should tell you that I don't have to mine this area because I'm going to pollute this river. And therefore, for us, it is the practitioners who really create the problems. And once we are able to get a handle on that, maybe we should be able to make some progress. Of course, we are all aware of the environmental problems that have been caused by small-scale miners based on their wild search for mineralized land and also for the careless disposal of tailings and the way they mine. And these continue to be debated, and people keep talking every day. At UMAT, we are an educational institution, and therefore we have made a conscious effort to look at the educational side of things. And therefore, at this moment, I can say with confidence that the university, with the help of government and other funding agencies, have been able to train about 6,000 small-scale miners. I believe that if even half of these people decided to practice what they learned, the situation would be different now. Unfortunately, the situation still remains a bit of a challenge. In the university currently, we have certificate programs in small-scale mining, where we engage people on how to do prospecting, how to survey, how to mine, do good gold extraction, tailings disposal. And I believe that as we continue to engage each other, the miners, other stakeholders, and the university, we should be able to make the small-scale mining industry a better one. In addition to teaching, we also learn from them. Sometimes you see what they are doing, you try to discuss it and find out whether they are doing a good job, and then you see what you can do better. Currently, we are involved in technology improvement. So we have this mercury-free process that we developed in-house, which the small-scale miners call the Sikia technology, where instead of applying mercury to your concentrate, you rather would want to add some chemicals and smelt it so that you don't add mercury. For many areas where mercury has been used and the land has been polluted, at UMAT we have developed phytoremediation. We have been able to identify some grass in Ghana that is able to absorb mercury. And therefore, when we get to an area where the contamination of mercury is high, we can plant the grass and harvest it after 3 months, and the land will be free from mercury. Once you harvest the grass, you take it out and you take out the mercury as well. In addition to that, we have developed water cleaning technologies. And we've had presentations at the ministry, and I want to believe that the ministry is thinking of giving us some money to clean River Pra, so that Pra can become a very clean river. Indeed, we are thinking of setting up a workstation around Daboase, so that any water that passes through Daboase will be cleaned, and therefore from Daboase to Shama, where River Pra joins the sea, the water at least will be clean. And we are hoping that we can do that with some amount of support. Again, we are also looking at resource optimization, where we process the tailings generated by small-scale miners. Many people talk about these newly introduced mercury-free technologies, and they say it is 99.8% and that kind of thing. I always say that, look, it is 99% of the free gold, not the total gold. Because those machines are basically gravity concentration equipment that deal with free gold. So if the grade of the gold is 6 grams per ton, and the free gold in it is 2 grams per ton, it is the 2 grams that you are recovering 99, not the 6. So after they have used the mercury-free technologies, the tailings still contain a substantial amount of gold. And UMAT is working together with some agencies to see whether we can set up processing centers where small-scale miners can take their tailings for further recovery. By so doing, optimizing the resource. Currently at UMAT, we are doing many things to help with the small-scale mining agenda. First of all, we've established a hub, which we call the Artisanal and Small-Scale Mining Hub. And one lecturer is in charge of the hub. The aim is to engage all small-scale miners. Whatever you want to talk about, the problems you are facing, the challenges, let us discuss it so that the hub can engage the ministry or other agencies involved to help with small-scale mining. Apart from that, we realized that 2nd June was the day on which small-scale mining was regularized in Ghana. And therefore, last year, we instituted the Sustainable Small-Scale Mining Awareness Day. A day which can be celebrated like any other World Day, where people's attention will be drawn to sustainable, artisanal small-scale mining. And this year, we are celebrating the 2nd June in Kumasi. So maybe from here, I have to go and meet the Otumfo and to seek his permission to celebrate it on his land. Apart from that, we have also instituted what we call the small-scale radio school. We have an FM station called the Dynamite FM. So we have 16 modules which we teach small-scale miners. And after we have finished with the ASM radio school in Takwa, we intend to take the recordings to other radio stations across the country and broadcast it so that other small-scale miners will get to know some of the things that we are doing in Takwa. In addition to these, we have engaged the Minerals Commission. Thankfully, the chairperson of the board is here. We are very grateful to them. They've agreed to give us some portions or blocked out areas for us to find out where the ore body is, thereby complementing the work of Geological Survey, so that once we get to know where the mineralized lands are, then they can license it to small-scale miners, so that more land can be made available. Our first portion of land or parcel of land has been given to us at Wamase near Obuasi, and we'll be working on it very soon. And finally, we are also going to establish the UMAT small-scale mine, which will grow to become a model mine where small-scale miners can come for not only classroom education, but rather field education, so that they can carry the knowledge acquired to their various concessions. I'll pause here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. That's, I'll call it practical research, research that is demonstrated. Mr. Ayi, I would straight away say that you are wearing two hats. Because this morning, you were in the shoes of the minister, and now CEO of, representing CEO of Minerals Commission. So you can be combining the policy issues and all the things that come from the ministry. Mr. Ayi was generous enough to share his room with me when I first went to work at the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. So he's my neighbor. Now, you have been there with all the experience that you've had. I talked about the conference that was held in Accra, and we thought that with all the drive in the minister and all the rounds undertaken, we were hoping that this conference would have been telling a certain success story and how we'll take it forward. At the policy level, obviously, we've had challenges, and so our success rate has not been as envisaged or as expected. But we'll still soldier on. So we want to know from you, what are the issues there at the ministry and also at the Minerals Commission, how we deal with all of these challenges, combining political issues, social issues, economic issues, and ensuring that all of these, that mining is made environmentally and economically viable for all Ghanaians. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chair. My name is Benjamin Ayi, as I said earlier. advisor on mining to the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources. But during this forum, I'm trying to represent the CEO of the Minerals Commission. The Minerals Commission is one of the agencies under the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. And the ministry has 3 subsectors. Apart from mining, it also has land and forestry, which necessarily are affected by mining activities. So its mandate includes looking at these, but the portion of the mandate of the ministry which relates to mining reads as the efficient management of the mineral resources for socioeconomic growth and development. So that's what the ministry is supposed to do as far as mining is concerned. And as I indicated, the Minerals Commission is one of the agencies under the ministry. And it's a constitutional creation. The Minerals Commission is created by Article 269 of the 1992 Constitution. And you'd find in that article, as well as the law that creates the Minerals Commission Act 450, that it says the commission is responsible for the regulation and management of the utilization of mineral resources and the coordination of policies in relation to them. So the commission is responsible for management as well as regulation. Sometimes that creates a bit of a challenge. It's a promoter and also a regulator at the same time. But critically, it's supposed to coordinate policies that relate to them, ensure their enforcement, and so on. So, question is, what's the big deal about the commission? And I'm not sure whether to say small-scale mining or illegal mining. This morning, you will notice that in the documentary, one of the people filmed did say he had some kind of a paper from Minerals Commission. I'm not sure if there is anything like that at all, because let me say that nobody apart from the minister responsible for mines issues licensing for any mineral-related activities. Exploration, exploitation, dealing in, nobody but the minister alone issues licenses. The Minerals Commission would advise the minister, and the minister alone would issue the relevant permits, licenses, etc. So if you're in the field and anyone tells you, have a license from the Commission to the and ask him to show it to you. And so you'd find that it doesn't say anything about being authorized to mine at all. It may be a recommendation to the minister who then considers and grants it. So maybe let me start off from the ministry. When the current minister was appointed, he immediately decided that there were a number of issues that have to do with small-scale mining and the aspect of it which was illegal. So the first thing he did was to appoint a technical committee which was tasked to, within a very short space of time, come up with what he described as the blueprint for managing the sector, the sub-sector. Let me quickly tell you some of the key things that the committee found, and then it will be the base for migrating to what the Minerals Commission is doing. Of the 25 issues that the committee identified, they found that there were 54 areas of weakness or gaps that needed to be addressed. And among these 54, the one which was most prevalent was poor, weak, or inadequate implementation or enforcement of the law, policies, requirements, etc. And I guess we have said it over and over here, that that's one of the big challenges. The laws are among the best you can find. Unfortunately, we don't seem to be implementing them. Question is why? And so we need to probably deal with that a little bit. Then, of course, another issue that came up was the inadequate resourcing of regulatory as well as other agencies. Indeed, even the operators, they have mentioned the fact that it's difficult to come up with resources to fund the operations. and for which reason sometimes they go to foreigners to secure funding. Again, there was the issue of poor collaboration among the regulators and other stakeholders. And again, as has been mentioned here, inadequate suitability of lands that are licensed sometimes for small-scale mining. And the big thing really that came out was a lack of formalization. A lot of the activities are informal, and therefore they are off the radar. Nobody takes them into account. Nobody monitors them. They do what they want, and therefore cannot be guided to do the right thing. And of course, the small-scale miners themselves have highlighted over and over again the centralized and tedious nature of licensing. So these were the key things that the committee came up with. And so the question is, how are we to deal with these to ensure that we can facilitate better management and regulation of the sector? In respect of the big elephant in the room, that is the poor, weak, or inadequate implementation, the recommendation was to depersonalize and decentralize enforcement. That is to say, enforce the law or requirements irrespective of who was involved, which has not been the case. Again, the enforcement was quite centralized. So can we decentralize it? So in that respect, one of the things the minister did instantly was to visit all the regional ministers and RegSecs and let them understand that in their areas of jurisdiction, they are responsible for law enforcement. So he expects that when it comes to mining, they should be doing that as well and not wait for the Minister of Mines to come and enforce the laws. In the discussion, it was agreed that the ministry should probably support their budget in doing so. And as I did say, the ministry has allocated part of its budget to each of the regional administrations to help in doing that. So we are hoping that we can streamline the enforcement of the law in that respect. For the rest of them, the proposed ways of dealing with are quite uniform and cut across. The first is to sensitize stakeholders, get them to understand, as we are doing now, as we did through the stakeholder dialogues that we had. Get people to appreciate that it is not about somebody else, but about us, every one of us. If we don't do something about it, we are all individually going to suffer the consequences. Therefore, it is important that, as they say, if you see something, say something, not just say something, but do something about it. And if we can all do that, then we can change the tide. Mining is not necessarily bad, but if not done properly, can endanger all of us. So we need to all pitch in to make sure it's done properly. And then again, we need to give capacity, firstly to the regulators to ensure they can regulate and deliver service in terms of giving capacity, knowledge to the operators, and also giving resources. A few of the things that we're doing in that respect is the geological investigation and identifying suitable areas for small-scale mining. Again, funding is a big thing. It's been said that the small-scale miners go to foreigners because locally they can't find people who will support them. So they go to foreigners who should not be in small-scale mining. So government is actively working with financial institutions. I mentioned Carl Bank, for instance, and a few others in that respect. Then providing logistics is one of the big things as well. The regulators themselves were quite incapacitated, and government is working seriously to capacitate the Minerals Commission. I know EPA is doing the same to ensure that they are in a better position to be able to regulate, both in terms of human resource. So they've employed quite a large number of people in recent years. They are training people, and in terms of logistics, they are providing both office and field equipment to ensure that people employed can get to do the work that they ought to do. Enforcement is both a deterrent and also one which we hope together we will get to see is the way to go. Let me quickly end up by saying that the Minerals Commission is at the heart of things. And you remember that the documentary, at the end of the documentary, the one who put it together laid the blame on the Minerals Commission. Question is, should we do that? The Minerals Commission ought to be doing certain things, but beyond doing certain things, we all need to pitch in. So the Commission, in addition to some of the things I'm saying, is actively involved in sensitization, which we need to do to get all of us as stakeholders together. And let me repeat something I said this morning, which I think is very important. One of the things the Commission is trying to do is to position small-scale mining as a viable, responsible, and sustainable activity, one. And secondly, to place it within the context of a broadly sustainable livelihood generation framework, so that aside from mining, which cannot employ everybody, let's understand that, we need to have alternatives. So even as mining takes place, we need to generate livelihoods aside from mining at the same time. But for sure, as we continue mining, we're going to deplete our resources. No questions at all. And at that point, we can only depend on non-mining activities. So Minerals Commission is very consciously working on making sure that we deal with all of these. And I think I'll stop at this point and then answer questions as needed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And let's put our hands together for the panelists. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now our turn to also make our comments or ask our questions. Unfortunately, Mr. Kony had to leave us, but I am sure that the other panelists can deal with the issues that will be directed to him. So if we can have the microphones going around, we will start from the gentleman on the right. Yes, please.
Yes, it's available, and it's not a secret because we have published papers on it. We started with collecting waste from Agbogboloshi. You know Agbogboloshi, those areas happen to be the most polluted area in the world at that time. And we used that material in the lab to pick several of these heavy metals. And then we applied it to mercury. It also worked. So I can show you some even in this region, so that you can harvest it yourself and go and plant. Yes. Pristia, you are close to Takwa, so you can come. Yes. It's a very common plant.
Yeah. Yes, please. Yeah.
To enforce the illegal mining. How long are you going to use security services? Are they going to be frontliners, or they are going to be supporting people to support the Minerals Commission and the EAPA to enforce it? Because I watched TV some time ago, and the soldier was explaining to a miner how he should do responsible mining. I was wondering whether he has expertise in instructing how to do proper mining. So are we thinking of any strategy, being the technocrats, that one day we can win off the security services and then we stabilize the situation? This is what I want to find out from you.
Okay, thank you very much. If you look at the approaches that have been applied over the years, we have applied both carrot and stick approaches. Clearly, the stick approach comes in at a point in time where the carrot approaches have not really helped. But it's not sustainable. I can assure you that it is very expensive. The stick approach, that is the security approach, is very expensive. But again, I'm sure those of you who have been in the field will know that you need to take the security guys out there, and after a short space of time, a number of them become compromised and they are virtually irrelevant for the purpose. So it's not the best approach. But there are recalcitrant operators you need to deal with the stick approach. But our preference will be the stick approach. I started off talking about sensitization. Obviously, we want to get people to understand that this is not the way to go. And if it's not the way to go, can we have a better approach? That's where agencies like the Minerals Commission will come in and try to get people educated to know the right way to do things. Because for one, a lot of times because they are doing illegal activities, they don't apply the practices necessary to be efficient. They lose out, and as a country we lose out. We want to be sure we are as efficient as we can. So Minerals Commission beefing up capacity, firstly, is not just to sensitize, but to give capacity to those who want to do the right thing, to know how to operate properly. So that's the preferred option. But even as we do that, if it becomes necessary to stop people polluting our water bodies, obviously Minerals Commission has no capacity to do that. We need to rely on security agencies. And we wouldn't want to be sending people from Accra. So that's why ministry is saying, let's get the regional administrations to understand it is our responsibility to man our area. Get the district administration to understand it is our responsibility to man and police our area. After all, you will suffer more than anybody else, the consequences. So that's sort of the context. So obviously, our preference is not security operations.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am Professor Adebayo Adekoya. I'm the acting Pro-VC of UNE. My interest is in the closing remark of Mr. Ayi. And his closing remark center on all of us cannot do mining. We need to create job for other people. And exactly that is my interest in whether small scale or large scale mining. The question is, all these gold that are being mined, where are they being taken to? I think it's fundamental that we must begin to think about value creation or value addition to the gold. Because if we want to create job, want to create wealth, we must direct people's attention to the refinery or the processing of this gold. I was very happy when you mentioned that we should encourage the financial industry in coming into it and encourage people to do sustainable mining. And I want to also add that not only mining, sustainable refinery or processing of gold. Now, to do that, I wish that the National Association of Small-Scale Mining will also support the technical colleges and as well universities in setting up acquisition centers so that people will be able to acquire the proper skills to do these value creation activities. That is my comment and contribution. Thank you.
Madam, yes, we want to hear from the ladies, so please.
Thank you very much. My name is Judina Kwokrayam. I am a board member of the Minerals Commission. I just wanted to follow up from what Mr. Ayi said, that the Minerals Commission is taking a collaboration with the Small Scale Association very seriously. In fact, since 2019, late 2019, we set up a steering committee of the Small Scale Executive and the Minerals Commission board members to meet on a monthly basis. So we communicate with them and they tell us their problems and we find solutions to it. We are now more involved with them than we've ever been. In fact, they have a week-long celebration from the 1st of June. We are going to be with them at the Grand Durbar on the 2nd of June in Kumasi. We feel that the more we work with them, the more we collaborate with them, the more we can achieve our target. To the point that even our mine guards, we want them to be trained alongside their mine protection guards. They have a group that have stopped working for some time. We think that if we bring them under our ambit and we work with them and we train them together under the Ghana Police Service, they'll be more able to deliver. We even want some of their people who are in the areas where you have water bodies to be trained by Navy so that they can also work on the boats and so on. So we are talking about a lot of things. Minerals Commission is not sitting down. The past few years we've been very, very busy. This board headed by Honorable Barbara, we have not sat down. We are everywhere. And when so much damage has been done over the years, it's difficult to fix it immediately. So bear with us. We are really working. We are seriously working. Now, concerning value addition from Professor Adebayo, we, for the past few years, have been working on refineries and so on and so forth. There's one being put together at the PMMC. Of course, it's partly private-owned, and so it's a PP sort of venture. But there's a new one coming that is wholly Ghanaian, which will probably be set up by end of next year. So we are looking at all these things seriously. The Minerals Commission is supporting the Jewelers Association of Ghana. In fact, they are now members of the Minerals Commission. They have a training program going on from the 1st and 2nd of June in Accra, sponsored by the Minerals Commission. That's the Association of Jewelers, so that they can be trained in all aspects of the economy, all aspects of business. So we are not sitting down. A lot of things maybe we have not put out on the radio, but want to be able to get to that place where we can showcase. So bear with us. We are really working. Thank you very much.
Okay, my name is Erastus. I wanted to say something. When we have dialogues like these, what we say here sometimes is totally different from what happens in the bushes. In fact, when we went to Achianse, the man who came to us said that they have documents. I said, okay, let me see it. And he produces the Minerals Commission signed document. And he says, this is what I have. And I've shown this to the police, and that is why they have allowed me to mine. With my little knowledge in the processes, I know the permit, the digging permit, is a whole booklet. You need to get EPA, you need to get water resources permit, you need to get permit from the district assembly, you need to get the Minerals Commission zone as well, and then you need to ratify in Parliament before you get a digging permit to even start digging. But this is what happens on the ground all the time. When you go on the ground, you find people showing you the Minerals Commission document and telling you that this is the permit, this is what I have the right to mine. And many of our security agencies are not trained to know this, and so they allow them to go ahead and do that. And even when you have a permit and you start mining in the river, the whole activity there is illegal. Currently, as we speak, we go to Samreboy, precisely villages like Atala, Uhiampenika, Datano. We are just from there. They are still mining within the tunnel, they are there. And I know that the Minerals Commission officers went there not to stop them, but to settle a dispute between them, because they claim they are all doing the illegalities all right, because they are mining directly in the river. If I show you the drone footage, you know they are mining directly in the Tano River. But then the Minerals Commission officers who went there to settle a dispute between them and Akonta Mining, and not to stop them. So sometimes I ask myself, yeah, we speak nicely, we think that we are doing, I know you're doing something very much at the top there, but at the district level where the action is, nothing much is happening there. And so we keep seeing the waters being polluted to this level, the illegalities are still going on at that particular level. So how do we say that we are working when indeed on the ground the water, the natural resources are polluted?
Thank you very much. I think it's a comment. It's food for thought for all of us. But my colleague here wants to ask a question.
Thank you, Erastus. When you all remember when I was making my statement here, I made mention of the security agencies. At that time, I couldn't explain why I mentioned the security agencies. They may think that I'm taking them in the other way around. But the authorities are there, the institutions are there. And like my boss, Mr. Ayi, was saying, it is where that when there's a problem and they think that the commission or the ministries cannot handle it, they ask the security agencies to get there and resolve the problem. And I want to find out from Erastus, the people who were they licensed people? And are they illegal miners or they were licensed people? And the commission will go there and settle a dispute among them. If they were illegal miners, or if working in the water bodies, I don't think that the laws, like the Water Research Board, who is here, was making his representative. If you don't have the right document to divert a river from their commission, you cannot go anywhere to do mining and divert a river. So why these 2 or 3 different mining groups were there fighting among themselves, and the commission people will go there to settle a dispute? If they are illegal miners, that is where you call on the security agencies to arrest all of them. You see, this problem that we are all sitting here, sitting every day talking about this, if we don't take the bull by the horns, we can never solve this problem in this country. And I think that each and every one has responsibility in this country. If they have assigned you for a certain institution, the government and the country has entrusted a lot of work onto you to execute it. Do your work as they are paying you. But if you are taking your salary and you refuse to do the right work, you are doing bad to the mother Ghana. And I think we should all be men and work hard and help mother Ghana. This problem, I don't expect it to be happening again. When we started this dialogue several times, and now the same things are repeating all over. And we're sitting here asking ourselves questions. Do we think that the questions that will answer the problems without actions? So I plead. My security agencies, I was not thinking that maybe I'm saying something very bad about you people. But you have a responsibility to do. So if you also go there and see that an illegal miner is doing, they are paying you, and they have given you allowance, and you think that the illegal miner, what he's going to give you will be better. You go and collect and allow the people to be working. You are doing bad to Mother Ghana. And I plead with you people. I'm not trying to indict you, but that is the reality on the ground. We are miners. Any responsible small-scale miner will not do the things that they are saying. We cooperate with the institutions to do the right thing. But all those that you find in such areas are illegal miners. And by the end of it, they'll tie it to the small-scale miners because we doesn't have the wings to fly and we cannot do anything. Please, let's help Mother Ghana.
Thank you very much. I believe that we are all making an effort to find a solution to all of this. I'll come to you. Madam, I'll just 1 second. I want him to respond to the earlier comment about that.
Okay, two comments were made, which I need to refer to. To Erastus, you made reference specifically to Thanos, so let me be very specific. I'm not sure you are aware, but if you look at the press reportage, my deputy minister together with Operation Halt were on the tunnel on Monday. Sometimes you'd find that we need information. The Minerals Commission guys may have gone there or somebody else goes there and alerts us. We don't go announcing that tomorrow or the day after, we are going to undertake an operation. But I can share with you when we are finished. I have reportage from the press, not just our internal reportage, about actions that have been taken. So there's a lot that is going on. A lot of it probably doesn't get to the press, but let me emphasize, the commission is not everywhere. The EPA may not be everywhere. The ministry is not everywhere. So that's why we as Ghanaians need to understand that this is a responsibility we need to take. If I find it, I need to alert somebody. And then once I alert, action could be taken. But if I'm unaware, and it's quite interesting that it's not localized. I keep saying that Ghana is blessed in that it's truly the Gold Coast. You can mine gold virtually anywhere in Ghana if the price is right. But unfortunately, that's our undoing at the same time. If it were very localized, then you can focus your security operations to just monitor. But as you chase them from one location, they basically migrate. And then you keep chasing your tail, sort of. So that's why we all need to be involved to ensure that, hey, this is not good for us. Our area, we don't want it. If every area says we don't want it, it will not happen. And that's what we need to do. That's the first one. Quickly, a comment on Prof's earlier statement. I agree with you fully that we need to value. I couldn't go through all the Minerals Commission's thematic areas. There were 4 of them. 2 of them, which are very relevant, is diversification of our mineral resource base and value addition. And of course, also deepening local content. There are things that they are pursuing. And you don't have to talk about just gold. Gold, you can't add too much value to because we really don't consume much gold. You should be talking about diversifying our mineral resource base. Get into the others, the industrial minerals and others. And once you do that, you have more capacity for value addition because we apply them immediately. So that's a comment I want to make.
Thank you very much, Madam Sorry, for keeping you on your feet. You have the floor. Please introduce yourself. Yes, thank you.
I'm Nana Kesewa Yeboah from Regional Coordinating Council and Assistant Director. My 2 submissions. The first one is a contribution to what Prof had earlier on said. He made mention of sensitization on the FM stations. I would also like to add that if you can also be more effective in that area. These days, there are more associations, and I believe the small-scale miners should have an association. If you really want to make an impact, then get to the grassroots and then engage the small-scale miners on their associational level. The second part is, someday, the seats we are sitting on, we may not sit on again. And when we cast our minds back, we should be proud of some measures we were able to put down to make sure that we left a legacy behind. If we don't, and this chance passes us by, there is a story of a man who went to the renal unit to assess the renal services. And one doctor came out talking to another saying that this man was at a very important helm of affairs during his tenure, but he did nothing. And today he has come back to assess the renal unit, which has limited machines that can take care of the kidneys. If we don't take actions today, someday we will live to regret it. So let us make sure we take pragmatic decisions and work with it to get lasting solution to whatever we have come here to dialogue on. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I believe we can take two more, and then we'll come back to our panelists.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I have one question and one submission. A question for Professor Mokra. It's about the training of the small-scale miners. I think you gave a figure over 6,000 so far that has been trained. And I want to know whether the university has taken the pains to do a follow-up on these trained miners. We have various mine workers their communities in terms of small-scale mining. Because that is also very, very important. Because we train them, maybe most of them are not even working. So it is not making any much impact in the industry. And it's also contributing to what we are seeing. My other issues about the submission I want us to really think through. You see, currently, the name is Henry, the Director of the Chamber of Bullion Traders, Ghana. Currently, small-scale mining produce, which is basically gold, is not accepted in Switzerland or Europe in chamber since 2013. US, when it goes to Dubai, initially, that region, they were trying to be quite stubborn. But the pressure groups have made it in such a way that as of this year, beginning of this year, they are all conforming, every refinery, whether you're LBMA certified or not, are all conforming to the OECD standard, as by the World Gold Council. So this is the situation. And we should all take cue of the fact that the central bank, which has gone into small-scale mining gold produce since last year, June, cannot buy 99.99% of the gold being produced by the small-scale miners. So now, the central bank is only what we call a single mine sourcing, SMS, single mine sourcing. So there's only one mine which is qualified to supply through the central banks again to the central bank. And the difficulties the central bank went through from last year to be able to ship its gold, which is over 630 kilos, which was bought from last year, to just a few weeks ago, which was accepted by Palm Refinery in Switzerland. It is, I believe the central bank representative should have been here to tell us the kind of due processes, traceability, responsible mining, reclamation that the OECD standard has set up before they were set. So, if the miners really want to work effectively, and I believe that by the end of this year, in all honesty, we may not even be able to export gold to Dubai, looking at the conditions that are there. We have been banned in diamonds twice, 2004, 5, if you all remember. Because we failed the human process certification. And it is also coming to gold. And we need to be very clear on that. And this is not a battle for only the miners. The institutions must take into consideration that if we cannot export our gold and cannot eat it, then it's a whole it's a whole indictment on the country. So they must really be involved. We as a chamber, 2-3 years ago, made a proposal to the authorities. Look here, it's not a matter of training them on campus or whatever. We must attack our mining, mineral processing engineers, geologists and other mechanical engineers on site. Let them be there. Let's find a way of financing them. We are talking about finance for the small-scale industry. We used to have all manner of money flowing into the country without the investors or the outsiders being involved in the mining here. Then, but what happened? They also realized that they were mining irresponsibly. Mining loans and other things, they are there. Cheaper than what we get from the banks here. But because they are not mining responsible, nobody is interested in putting money. But when you go through the responsible mining, there are lots of funding out there that you can get for 1%, 2%. And you can improve on the economy by going through the rightful means of mining and doing reclamation. I think this is another solution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Prof, before you respond, we'll take the last one so that when we start, we will end from the panels. Yeah. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much. I think that we are not far from solution. I'm urging us. What Prof said and what during Doctor's presentation, we saw what the Germans are doing. He knows how to do it concerning the reclamation. So I am suggesting and I'm urging us that if the ministry could release some of the monies to the UMAT and the UNE people, like Prof said, clearing of the River Pratt and Cobra, I think we are not far from solution. I think we are not far from solution. I'm urging us. So if we could do that, we can reclaim a lot of our lands. I grew up at Prestia, and in those days, mining was so beautiful. We had the golf parks, we had everything, beautiful. But today when you go to Prestia, you will cry. The river Ancobra, when I was growing up, as soon as you see the river when you're entering the town, you could see that this is a very beautiful river. Now you go there, and the river itself is crying. It's no longer Ancobra River again. So please, I'm urging us, if the ministry, those in charge of the monies, could release some of the monies to the UNED team. We have the scientists available. This man is there, UMAT is there. Let us help us, and then we'll solve the solution. We are not far from the solution. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's on a very positive note. Please.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Henry, I say yes. We have visited some mining companies. I cannot say that out of the 6,000 we have visited all of them, no. But the few that we have visited, one of the key things I saw them using has to do with the tailings disposal management system that we developed. We developed what we call the 3-stage pond system, which allows individuals to circulate their water so that they do not pollute the waters that are by their operations. So for instance, somebody can be working around River Pra or Tano or Ancobra, but the tailings should not get to those rivers. That one, I saw that most of them were using it. What they are not using has to do with the mercury-free process. They still think that mercury is the shortest way between the gold concentrate and the market. So that one, they have not started using mercury. It's only a few of them. But for the tailings, some of them have adopted it. Of course, I would say that would be about maybe 10% of the people who have come. Not all of them. Right. Hopefully we can do some more. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, Ms. Aye, your closing remarks, and I will bring the mic round.
Chair, sorry, there is a lady who has the mic. She hasn't spoken. Maybe you should allow her to just quickly.
Oh, okay.
Very.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before my big brother talks, let me just mention something small about farming and mining. And we did some work in the Tinga area, Bole, Tinga, Kwi area, regarding how miners and farmers are working together. And it's a very interesting thing. If you give me your email address, I'll send you this paper. I call it Going for Gold. The interactions between farming and mining in the Bole area. And you would realize that some of the farmers are saying that the revenue that they get from farming is so low that in the dry season they cannot farm. So in the dry season they go mining gold. And when it gets to the wet season, then they plant. And that combination is a very useful one for the farmers in the area. In addition to that, at UMAT, there is this discussion that miners are destroying cocoa farms, for which reason the yield has gone down. We demarcated an area around Wasa Memphis, and we flew some drones over the area to capture the change in land use between cocoa farming and mining. We have some data that we can give you in case you are interested. But we also developed what we call the quadrant mining system, where, for instance, if somebody has a cocoa farm, naturally, you know that cocoa farms grow very old and we have to cut them down. And if a farmer decides to cut the cocoa plants down, and there is gold in the land, indirectly you can draw a quadrant or get a quadrant in the area. You cut this cocoa farm, you mine it, you reclaim. By the time you start cutting this one down, you would have started planting this. And within that quadrangle, you can mine and plant at the same time without losing revenue.
Thank you very much, Prof. I guess I'll make a very brief intervention. I think we've said a lot. I probably should focus on what my brother said. He said we should send some of the money. Let me assure you, there is no pot of gold anywhere. I can assure you of that. The ministry, the Minerals Commission, came up with a program I made reference to earlier in the morning, the Alternative Employment and Livelihood Program, which we presented to Cabinet. Cabinet thought that was laudable. It was partly non-mining, partly green mining. It was agreed that this should be funded. And we are given all the assurance that the Ministry of Finance will find money for it. We are still waiting for the money. So there's no money sitting anywhere. I can assure you there are so many competing uses for whatever monies are coming in. And so the commission has been squeezed to the wall. Sometimes we take from them what they have for other things to even push some of these agenda items. So I think Prof. earlier on did say that he's not talking about differential treatment. Large-scale mines making money available to do the reclamation while small-scale miners don't. In Ghana, we believe in the polluter pay principle. So if you are going to cause pollution, you should prepare to remediate. That's the principle. It's just that we've not implemented it in the small-scale mining sector. Unfortunately, there are legacy degradation which nobody else will fund. So government is trying to raise the funds to deal with these. We'll try to do that to the extent possible. But I guess that's why sensitization is so critical, that all of us should ensure that we shouldn't continue degrading. As much as possible, halt it. Then it is your taxes, my taxes. We'll take some of it to reclaim the legacy ones. So that's the reality. It's not going to come from anywhere else. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And the rest of the panelists will give a minute summary if they have. You okay?
All right. Thank you very much. I think a lot have been said, but I just want to draw attention to the theme for this occasion, and also to say that if you would look at the issue of water resources management, for instance, we would place much more emphasis also on knowledge with a view to making decisions at the regulatory and management level. And for that matter, listening to a lot of the submissions that have been made, it would be appropriate for that level of cooperation and collaboration with a view to getting more knowledge that have been developed at the research level for us to be able to, as it were, use it for planning and also for the purposes of decision making. That for me is one thing that I wish that this dialogue takes away. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Your 1 minute summary.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I believe that when you listen to Madam was talking about the collaboration between the small-scale miners and then the Minerals Commission, we'll have cordial, friendly discussion how we can move this mining industry to a next level. And as you were saying, our task force, when you remember 2017, even though the soldiers and the police were there, but in the River Boris, it was the task force of the small-scale mining were the people who were doing the most of the job that government succeeded a certain percentage at the time. And I believe that now we are closer with each other and we understand the lapses among us, the commission and the small-scale miners. And what we have started, if we are able to continue with it, I believe that it will bring a sanity to the industry. But I believe that going forward, how they started doing this prospecting with the geological departments to get land ready for the small-scale mining, the speed up and do it, so that when they acquired lands, there will be a sustainable mining in this country, and small-scale miners' name will not continue to be spoiled as they have been doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before the panelists are discharged, there is one more contribution, and then we'll bring this session to a close. Please.
Very much, Mr. Chairman. I just want to touch on what my sister...
if you introduce yourself and then...
My name is Wadud Momin, the chairman of the organizing committee of this program. And I just want to touch on what she has said about the multi-stakeholder dimension of it. If you look around, the chairman keeps emphasizing that he's not directly involved in mining, but the land that the miners operate on belongs to him, under his trust. So that is the multi-stakeholder dimension of it. If we have agriculturalists present, they also need to actually register their presence, add to the discussions. But then, we are coming up with a program on bread from stone. From agriculture, you invest in mining. You get the returns in mining, you reinvest in agriculture. We have all the data that convinces everyone in the world that the tropical areas and arid, semi-arid areas in Africa can actually do well in agriculture to support local economies. But they need the initial capital to be able to invest in mechanized agriculture. And to do that, they have rich mineral resources. They need to extract these resources responsibly to be able in agriculture, sustainable agriculture. So that is why we are coming up with the theme, bread from stone. You harvest, you reinvest. You exploit, you reinvest in harvesting. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. So, Madam, I believe that your issues have been well addressed, and then you do a follow-up, Prof. Yes, Prof will handle the rest. Ladies and gentlemen, all too soon we've come to the end of today's session. I thank all of you for your contributions. I didn't see anybody sleeping, even though we came in after lunch. There are a few points I just want to take with us as we go to rest and come back tomorrow. We've been talking about value addition. I want us to ponder very much about that value addition. Whatever it is, we cannot be doing things only in the raw state. We need to add value to it. And everything that we do, we need resources to enforce all the good ideas that we have. If we don't have the resources to enforce them, we cannot get anywhere. Then there's also the talk of alternative livelihood. We cannot always be mining and mining and mining. Mr. talked about it. I think that we need to open that avenue, open that door to ensure that we have alternative livelihood for our people so that not everybody will have to engage in mining or see mining as a all in all. Let me also say that whatever we do, whether it is alternative livelihood or not, we need to build the capacity of our people. Even if we are doing mining and want to add value to it, if we don't build the capacity of our people, we will not get anywhere. And that's why I'm happy that at the university, they are training those who are engaged in small-scale mining just to build their capacity so they get it right. I also want to say that it is important that we continue to create awareness amongst our people. If they are doing something wrong, let our people know that these are the effects today and tomorrow of what our actions are. The EPA talked about it, water resources talked about it. We are polluting our water, we may have to import water. Let's continue to create the awareness. Some people will stop today, others will stop tomorrow. But ultimately, once we are aware, and education is key. If we don't educate our people, they will continue to do the wrong things. And not only our educational institutions, those of us in industry, let us also continue to educate our people, build closer collaboration, and finally, research. Let's continue to research and get things right. I want to thank my panelists, and I want to thank each and every one of you for supporting this session. Thank you all. MC.
Thank you very much. And on behalf of the Chairman and Council of the University of Energy and Natural Resources Management, all other stakeholders, the organizing committee, I want to register profound appreciation and gratitude to all of you for making this program a success. Indeed, the event has been very informative, educative, well-embracing, well-encompassing, and all. A number of issues and concerns have been raised, and I want to believe that by the end of the event tomorrow, we will be able to synthesize everything and chart a path, a policy to guide the management of our resources, natural resources. Thank you all. There is snacks and there is dinner. We had to break for snacks, but we were well engulfed in the program that we didn't. So the snack is there and the dinner is there. So make sure you partake in both. The last question, which the answer will be demanded tomorrow, is that if someone has the permit or the license to operate, but is mining so close to a river body, a water body, or inside a water body, is that illegal mining or irresponsible mining? And the other one, if someone doesn't have the permit, but is mining far away somewhere without disrupting any river or anything, is that still illegal or irresponsible mining? I'll demand the answer tomorrow. There is an imam who has been elected to give us the closing prayer today. I don't know who he is. Imam, there he comes. And before the imam prays, let me say this. There was a workshop like this. People came from somewhere. It was a 2-day program like this. And, you know, people enjoyed themselves and wanted to send information to their friends and loved ones and things like that. This man wanted to send a message to the wife to tell her how the place was so lively and things. And in his haste, something happened. So if you want to send a message, edit it very well before you send. The man started, Akosia, I have gotten to the grounds. The place is so nice. In fact, they've given me an attendant, a very nice, beautiful lady who is taking me around. In fact, I wish you were here. And in his haste, the last E did not appear.
Let us remain seated as we say some few words of gratitude to Allah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Oh glorious Allah, once again we stand as witnesses to your unending mercy that encompasses everything. And your being the magnificent Lord who always fulfill your promises. In Quran chapter 40 verse 60 you say in Arabic, Udu'uni astajibu lakum, that you should call unto me and you are ever ready to respond to our prayers. At the beginning of this program, we ask for your protection and guidance. And all of us over here attest to the fact that by your bountiful grace, we have had a very fulfilling and successful program. We are grateful for your direction. We are thankful for the good ideas, knowledge, and wisdom shared here. As we live here, we ask for your continuing mercy and protection. As you brought us here this morning safely, we solemnly pray that you lead us to our various destinations safely and peacefully. Keep us, Ya Allah, protect us, and provide us with wisdom as we return to our homes, and grant us much more wisdom and bring us back tomorrow for the second and final part of this momentous event. This is our humble prayer, and from you we expect your unfailing prophet response. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع الدعاء برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين يا رب العالمين آمين.
Thank you all very much. Let's keep the informal interactions going. Sleep well and come back in full tomorrow. Thank you.